advantage because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person. Complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Listen to the home of the 5K Gruber Cash Giveaway. 101.7 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Some analysts are getting worried about the health of the private credit sector. Millwood Hobbs is Deputy Chief Investment Officer of Oaktree's Strategic Credit Platform. Speaking as part of a live panel at Bloomberg Invest, Hobbs downplayed the long-term impact of risk in private credit.
If you're patient, I think you will see most of the credit issues will be solved. We will have higher defaults, that's clear. Like everyone in our market's been a genius since 2010. There's been no one that's dumb. So we will have some issues. And I think the other thing you will find is that we'll have some opportunities, right? Because now with the outflows, we have to reprice our capital.
Hobbs speaking as part of a panel at Bloomberg Invest. As a prominent black executive, he's also made it a point to advocate for closing the talent gap and bring more people from underrepresented groups into firms like his. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
During Lowe's Pro Savings Days, save more on what goes into the job. Add power to your lineup with a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt 20-volt max tool. Plus, get up to 35% off select major appliances from Whirlpool, Maytag, and more. Get the job done right. Keep more in your pocket. That's Pro Savings Days. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 3/27. Selection varies by location. While supplies last.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, or the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping. Like a heartbeat's call, he's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
program. Today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. So I've taken a look at everything. All of the political happenings, domestic policy, foreign policy, of course, because we have a bit of a disagreement going on with the country of Iran. I've looked at things right here in Wisconsin. I've even previewed the upcoming elections that we have, including one for the state Supreme Court, a primary for governor come August, and, of course, the big old midterm election in November. And I'm taking it all in. Then, of course, I have to look at what is happening right here in the city of Milwaukee. This is a city that, boy, I'll tell you what, it keeps on giving. There's never a dull moment because, you got the crime things and there people are fighting a lot. And it's unusual but common for whenever a fight breaks out. 7 in the morning, 7 in the evening, noon, midnight, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. A fight can break out somewhere in this city over breakfast, and boom, somebody's going to record it. It's going to get uploaded to social media. It's going to come across my feed. So I take all of these things into consideration. People are getting sentenced to long stints in jail for crimes they committed. And I think that we want that. If somebody breaks the law, they got to go to jail. You have 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds in the club, getting caught in the club. Just a plethora of things that are happening. And it's a lot. If you look at all the different levels of federal level, I got some information here about the impact the Doge had. Remember them? Remember when Doge was a problem, when Elon Musk had his people all up in the federal government just doing stuff? So I've got the details of what they did. And so I'm taking it all in. It's not looking good, everybody. It's just not looking very optimistic right now. So that is my assessment. I'm going to give you some details on why I think things are just not looking good. The outlook for this country, short term, medium term, and long term, they're all three of those are really, really bad, but I want to give you some details. There's something that someone had inquired of me some time ago, and I tabled it because whatever we were talking about that day, I couldn't pivot. But I kept it in the back of my mind to bring up this piece of legislation called the SAVE Act. And it's not to be confused with a student loan repayment program of the same acronym, but of a different meaning. So the student loan program, which was also the SAVE Act, saving something on a valuable education, that was under the Biden administration, and it allowed people who had student loans to pay a really, really small percentage of their discretionary income toward their student loan. So regardless of how much you owed, your student loan payments would be based upon how much money you have left over after you pay all your taxes and your living and your renting and all of the things, and it would be a really, really small amount. So that's gone, but that's one SAVE Act. But the SAVE Act that someone asked me about, and I think it may have been in our YouTube chat. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up a YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search 1017 The Truth and hit subscribe. It's about the SAVE Act that has everything to do with our election. So this is a Republican bill, a Donald Trump bill. Donald Trump wants this bill so bad. In fact, I think this is the piece of legislation that Trump said if this one doesn't pass, he's not going to sign any other bills. It's the Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act. And I really, really got to get through this. I have to explain this to you all because it is going to come to arrive at your feet as an incredible shock. So I want to make sure that we have the details of it. I personally don't know if it's going to pass. I am going to act as if and explain it as if it is going to pass and the president is going to sign it. If it does, it changes 100% how we vote, how we register to vote. It changes all of the rules, and it's the first step in federalizing our elections, which, let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is a really, really bad idea, because anything that this president wants to do and have under his control turns into sugar honey iced tea. So I have to make sure that we get through the details of the SAVE Act, because now I'm hoping it doesn't pass. But if it does, ladies and gentlemen, there are things that we're going to have to start doing, including myself, right now, to be prepared to vote in the November election. And some of you will need this full amount of time. That is, 6 months from now is the November 11th? No, that can't be right. Yeah, I guess it is. No, it was 8 months. November is the 11th month. We're currently in the 3rd month. So 8 months from now. It will take some of you that long to get the necessary ready tools in order to be able to vote under this new piece of legislation. And here's the thing. Most of you probably will not complete those tasks, and that is what the president is relying on. So we're going to get through the SAVE Act. And also, since I told you to go on over to the YouTube, just skip through the ads. When you go to the YouTube, you're going to see some ads. Just hit the skip button. Don't worry about that. Okay? I got a question. And I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. I'm not trying to get people angry with me. You know, I have an inquisitive temperament. You guys know that about me. I want to know things. I want more knowledge and more information. It better helps me navigate a very complicated world. Who's easier to work for? You don't got to give some sexist or misogynist or misandrist, because that's a word too. Misandry is when you hate men, which I think most women do hate us. They do. You don't think so, Xavier? Oh, yeah, they do. You should listen to how they talk about us to one another. Oh, they hate our guts.
Women hate bad men.
At the same time, bad men get all the action. So no, they don't. They don't hate bad men.
That's not true. I'm a very nice guy.
I'm sure you are. And they love nice guys because you're comforting, you're attentive, you're safe, but you don't thrill them. You don't spark. You think you do, not in the way that the bad guy, if you're one of those, oh my God, good morning, honey. I had such a wonderful time last night. As opposed to, get your ass up, big head. You ain't sleep. Oh my God, he's so mean to me. I love him. It's toxic, I know, but they're an unusual sort. Don't get me in trouble, Xavier. I got stuff I got to accomplish. I'm not trying to go down those weird, stereotypical, toxic traits of both men and women. Let's not do that. But who's easier to work for? Because you guys, I'm assuming, have had jobs at some point in your lives. Some of you might be employed right now. Some of you might be at work right now. Shout out to the people that are working and earning their living. And you've probably worked for bosses, managers, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, people that have had some kind of professional status above you. And I'm sure that you have worked for both men and women. I know I most certainly have. And I have an answer to this question without getting into all the details of it, but I'm very curious. The participants in this program, who do you find easier to work for, men or women? And there is a difference. I'm not saying one is better or worse or right or wrong, but some can be easier to work for, especially in times of conflict or disagreement. Maybe that gives a little bit more clarity to the yes or no question that we are asking via YouTube. Who is easier to work for, men or women? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a break. Going to come back. I really want to explain the details of the SAVE Act because it has the possibility of impacting how we vote in future elections in the state of Wisconsin. Whether this piece of federal legislation actually passes the U.S. Senate, because right now it needs to get a 60-vote threshold, which I'm not sure it's going to get. But in the event that they finagle some kind of rules and this thing passes the Senate, it is going to sail through the House if it hasn't passed the House already. The House has never been the issue with the SAVE Act. But if it does pass, it's going to change how we vote in our elections. And if you're like me, you're eager to cast your ballots in this midterm election year of 2026. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I travel all around the world, Dr. Ken, and when I tell you, based on my experiences, this is like the number one country that cares. Like, everything is about money. Yep. Everything.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
I've told people in the past, you have to be careful of what you complain about and what you use as a tool, because other people will take it and use it in the wrong way.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 1017 The Truth.
As the White House threatens to take over state elections, restrict abortion nationwide, and take away our health care, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the last line of defense for our rights. That's why the Supreme Court election on April 7th is so critical. The ACLU does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to make an informed decision. When it comes to abortion rights, Maria Lazar supported overturning Roe v. Wade and is endorsed by groups that want to ban abortion. Chris Taylor voted against abortion bans and defended abortion rights while working with Planned Parenthood. And on the issue of voting rights in Wisconsin, Maria Lazar defended efforts to rig elections for one political party through extreme gerrymandering of congressional and legislative districts. Chris Taylor opposes rigging the system with extreme partisan gerrymandering. On April 7th, stand up for our rights. Paid for by American Civil Liberties Union, Incorporated.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It goes back to a decade or more old immigration policy that wasn't really a policy. It was more a sentiment that Mitt Romney had. Remember that fella? When he ran against Barack Obama in 2012, don't worry, Mitt Romney lost. So did Paul Ryan, who was running as his vice presidential running mate. Mitt Romney said, we're going to make conditions so bad for immigrants that they're going to self-deport. That's really mean. It's not a nice thing to say. But that also was a way to shirk having to create a policy. He just wanted to make conditions so bad that people would opt to leave the United States of America, which is a really unusual thing to say, because if you ask me, especially if you fast forward to right now, so that was the election cycle of 2012, I think the conditions are just as bad, if not worse, for good old-fashioned American citizens than they are for anybody coming to this country. It's bad for us because we are watching the sanctity of this nation, if it ever had any, simply evaporate with zero accountability. Like, how do you tell your children that, number one, they're not safe, and the worst things that can possibly happen to them, some of the most significant, wealthiest, powerful people in this nation and around the world have done, and then they still have the ability to take our tax money and start wars? Like, how do you explain that to children? How do you define good when the president of the United States is easily one of the most corrupt people on the entire planet? It's dreadful. It is. So this is new for us. If you're alive right now, we have never seen anything like this. If you come from another country, this probably happens all of the time. So they're not even that shocked by the levels of corruption that we are seeing and the nepotism that we're seeing and the violations of the law and the Constitution and zero accountability. For other people, it's why they left their country. They wanted to come here where this kind of stuff we're seeing right now is not exactly commonplace. So I find it so ironic that Mitt Romney said in 2012 he wanted to make the country uncomfortable for migrants and for immigrants so that they would go back. And it seems right now you got American citizens that are looking at Canada and looking at going to other places. But here's the problem. I don't think any other countries want us. Nobody is courting Americans to come and join their nationality. The SAVE Act fits into not just the decades-plus-old Mitt Romney policy, but also the Donald Trump immigration policy or migrant policy or the policy of cruelty to diminish individuals who are in this country under his definition of less than lawfully. Notice they're not talking about deporting anyone. I want people to pay attention to what is not being said. This was a big deal. Like when he talked about building the wall during his first term, they wouldn't stop talking about building the wall. They wouldn't stop. It was constant. It was the biggest policy. Not only were they going to build the wall, Mexico was going to pay for it. So we know that that didn't work out. There was a 35, 36, 37-day government shutdown because of Donald Trump didn't get funding for his border wall. He wasn't going to sign a continuing resolution to keep the government funded. That, I believe, was the second longest government shutdown. And that one I won't forget because there was a food pantry that was set up in New York because FBI agents could no longer afford to feed their families, so they set up a specific food pantry because apparently FBI agents have a lot of pride, and they didn't want to go to the regular old food pantries that, you know, average everyday Americans went to. I'll never forget that one. So ultimately, the border wall didn't get built. So this time, this go-around, it was a real heavy-handed deportation policy. So if we can't build the wall to keep them out, we're going to round them up and we're going to ship them out of here. And during the first maybe couple weeks, couple months of the administration, they were very proud of the number of people that they were detaining and arresting, and they were getting people from everywhere. The part that I found so ironic about that was, well, these people that are coming here, they're not doing anything. They're lazy. They're not working. They're trying to get all the free money and all the free benefits, and they're using fake citizenship documents so they can get all the welfare. And what's crazy about that was some black people had the nerve to say, hey, they're taking our free welfare benefit money. That was the most just uncouth, low-class thing our community has ever said or done. Side note, do y'all really go to restaurants and ask for plastic silverware? I just found this out yesterday. Do people really do that? Xavier, I don't want you to answer because you might be a yes on this. I just found out yesterday that there are people that when they go to, like, even nice restaurants, they don't want to use the silverware at restaurants. So they'll go to, like, a steak place, right, a real fancy joint, and they'll ask for plastic silverware because they don't want to use the actual silverware, but they're eating off of the damn plate and they're drinking out of the glasses. Y'all need to help me understand. Where are we going in the world? It ain't looking good. I know that much. So I ain't
never heard of nothing like that.
Listen, man, people are just. I'm shocked. I'm glad that I still have the ability to be shocked by some of the things that are happening in the world. It's just everyone has just. There's no direction. Like no universal direction. I think, you know, individual people and certain communities of people have a direction. They have aims and goals, but everybody else is just kind of like freeballing it. You know what I mean? Just raw dog in the world right now. Everybody's just rolling the damn dice. The Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act, shortened to SAVE Act, is a proposed law about who is allowed to vote in U.S. elections and how it is verified. So what this bill is supposed to tell you, I'm also starting to realize Americans will believe anything. Anything. I got to be careful of what I say. Now, I'm careful with what I say because I take my job seriously and I don't want to lose any credibility. I could tell y'all that the sky is upside down and like 7 or 8 people are going to believe it. I can tell you that the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, and people are going to believe it. I could tell you that the moon landing was fake and the earth is flat, and people would actually believe it. So I got to be careful of what I say. But they want you to believe that there are a lot of people, like millions of people in this country, and they're everywhere. Every city, every state, town, village, and hamlet that are in fact not citizens and are voting. Sometimes 2 and 3 times in our elections. Now remember, if you're a non-citizen, unless there's real specifics, because in some California school board races, you can be undocumented and vote in a school board race, but let me explain why that makes sense. You as a parent may be undocumented, but your children are American citizens because they were born on U.S. soil. And if you are a parent with children in a school district, they allow you, the parent, to vote in school board races. That makes sense to me. Your children are citizens. You haven't completed all the documentation and all of the paperwork and signing all of the things, and you got to get somebody to notarize it, and you got to put the stamp on it. You haven't done all of those things yet, so you're not officially a citizen, but your children are. So some places in this country, very few, allow non-citizens to vote in hyper-local elections, and I don't think you get more hyper-local than a school board election, because I think that makes sense because no one else is voting in school board elections. I know y'all sure don't. If I asked you when the next school board election was, I'll bet 92% of you have no idea. No. Don't go Google it now. They will have you believe that there are millions of people that are voting illegally in this country. Now, remember, if you're here illegally, you're under a tremendous amount of stress and under threat that you could be picked up and deported essentially at any time. And the fallacy was we have all these people that are over here and they're just lazy and they're stealing welfare. Then why was Immigration and Customs Enforcement going to like Home Depot and rounding people up while they're literally getting their tools and their supplies that they need to go and do work? But whatever. They'll have you believe that all these people are willing to risk their deportation and willing to risk getting a felony to vote in all these elections. And this president, he doesn't believe it, but he's telling you this because he knows that you all will believe it, that these illegals, have a major impact on these elections. And if that is indeed the case, then the illegals must have helped him in 2024 because they sure enough didn't vote for Kamala Harris. He wants you to believe that all these illegals are voting in the election. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to change how we vote. And the way they're going to explain, it's going to sound so commonsensical. It's going to be like, hey, we just want to make sure that you're an American citizen because this is a right that's afforded to American citizens. If you're not an American citizen, you shouldn't be able to decide who's in the legislature and who's in the state assembly and who is the governor and the member of Congress and the U.S. Senate and, Lord forbid, the president. So here's what the SAVE Act does. I'm going to say this part. I'm going to take a break. It deregisters every single American. If you are currently registered to vote, and I'd like to think that most of you are, the SAVE Act would make you an unregistered voter that would have to get a whole collection of documents, not to prove that you live where you live, not to prove that your address is what your address is, not to prove the precinct or the ward or the district you live in is tried and true. You have to prove that you're an American citizen. So until you prove, and a lot of you are, hell, most of you are American citizens. I wouldn't doubt there's moments of my broadcast where everybody listening is a citizen. But according to the SAVE Act, you would lose your ability to vote until you go and get the necessary paperwork and documents to prove that you are an actual American citizen. And they believe that this piece of legislation is going to keep our future elections free from the pesky interference of all of those foreigners that are coming over here to steal our welfare and clearly steal our elections. It is probably one of the most far-reaching, unnecessary, biased, racist, ethnocentric bills that I have ever seen, and I have seen a lot of them because it impacts every single American. All of us are deregistered until we prove that we are citizens. And part of that process and people getting the necessary documentation, I have a feeling that some people are going to get detained in the process of trying to prove their citizenship. I'll give you a few more details on the other side. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The legendary Broadway show is back. The Wiz.
He's on down the road.
The Chicago Sun-Times raves. It's an eye-popping, high-intensity revival. The music, the voices, the legend returns. Entertainment Weekly says, run, don't ease on down to this spectacular revival. The Wiz. Playing the Marcus Center, March 24th through 29th. Tickets at marcuscenter.org.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
Dad's gonna be far side, good.
What should I do with my dress?
Do little wiggles.
The slate's coming in.
What does it feel like when you're down or having a bad day?
It feels sad, like you just don't want to do anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
You're just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, son of a gun, woo. Ric Flair's coming to Milwaukee. March 27th at the Riverside Theater. Thanasis Antetokounmpo hosts Thanasis Live with WWE Hall of Famer and global icon himself, Ric Flair. Woo. This isn't a cameo. This isn't a 5-minute interview. This is a full live show. High energy, unfiltered storytelling, behind the scenes moments you've ever heard. And if you know Thanasis, you know he's bringing the juice. The energy, the laugh, the surprises, all when Ric Flair grabs the mic. Anything can happen. Tickets are limited, so lock yours in now at ThanasisShowNow.com. Thanasis Live, March 27th at the Riverside Theater, presented by Gruber Law Offices and Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Woo! That's what Ric Flair says. He says, woo. You all are going to say, woo, when you find out that you're not registered if the SAVE Act is allowed to come to fruition. Let me give you a few more details of it. The Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act, often shortened to the SAVE Act, is a proposed law about who is allowed to vote in the U.S. in our U.S. elections and how that is verified. Here we go. The bill is designed to make sure only U.S. citizens vote in federal elections, something that is already illegal for non-citizens. So it's a solution looking for a problem. What this bill changes is how people prove they are citizens when they register to vote. So it is assumed that none of you are citizens. You've been voting just fine. Everything has been fine. All the votes have been cast. Some have been counted. Some have not been. But it's assumed that you are a citizen because in most states, when you register to vote, you sign something that says you're a citizen. Now, an election worker can do an audit. They can verify that. But your signature means you are attesting under perjury laws that you are, in fact, a citizen. So that is essentially your proof, because if it is found you are not a citizen, they have all your information. They have your name, they have your address, and they have your signature. Boom, you'd be charged with a felony if you were, in fact, a non-citizen trying to vote. But for the Trump administration, let me be clear. For Trump, that's not enough. Under the SAVE Act, you would need to show documented proof of U.S. citizenship when registering to vote, meaning you've already shown a birth certificate to get your state ID. You've probably already shown a birth certificate to get your driver's license, to renew your driver's license, whatever. You would have to do that again. You would have to show a birth certificate, a U.S. passport, or your naturalization papers in order to register to vote. Here's what's crazy. Even though you're already registered, you got to do it again. And for most of us, we would do it. It's an additional hassle. It's an additional headache that is not necessary. But I liken it to, even though this might be a bad analogy, remember when the people flew the airplanes into the buildings and the buildings went boom? Remember that? It's September 11th, the buildings fell down on themselves, even though it was a controlled demolition. So the planes hit the buildings and then boom. And so then after that, we're like, oh no, people are getting on our planes and attacking buildings with the planes. So now we got to have the Department of Homeland Security and Transportation Safety Administration to scan everybody and to screen everybody and have a body scanner and have additional people that pat you down. Have you ever refused a body scan? So in the early days, they saw you naked. You guys remember those early No, you probably don't remember because they had to change them. So what they did is the person who was viewing when you walk through the body scanner at the airport, this is the early days, the person that viewed your scan was somewhere else. They didn't see you, they just saw your scan. And it literally looked through your clothes. And they showed like women's breasts and men's genitalia. And then once somebody found out or they uploaded a photograph to the internet, then they changed it to like a cartoon-like figure. I'm not kidding you. You can go look at old pictures of what those body scans used to look like. When you walk through an airport, they saw your junk. But it's what you have to do to make sure that 19 people don't steal 4 planes and crash them into either a field in Pennsylvania, the Pentagon, or Tower A and Tower B, and then Tower 7 was like, oh, I'm jealous. I think I'm going to fall too. So it was overkill, I think, because all of us were inconvenienced. You remember, you got to take your shoes off. I think they let you keep your shoes on now. But it was a piece of legislation that was designed to screen absolutely everybody. We needed new machinery. We needed new equipment. We had to hire a whole bunch of people because we wanted to make sure that 19 people out of the millions, the hundreds of millions of people that may fly every single year, we had to make sure that we had all the safety measures in place so that 19 more people couldn't steal a plane and crash them into buildings. Side note on that. I'm sure you guys saw the footage of, don't go look it up now because it's just as disturbing now as it was then. And this September will mark 25 years since September 11th. And I absolutely remember where I was when I saw those planes hit. When the first plane hit, you can see where the wings, they slice the steel of the building, like slits. The nose hit and then the wings hit. And you can see the indentations of these aluminum wings of that Boeing, I believe it was a 747 that hit Tower 1. But then if you look at a similar plane, same construction, aluminum wings, plastic nose cone, that hit the Pentagon, there are no slits where the wings would have hit the side of the Pentagon. People in that building, which is the nerve center of the American military and the Department of Defense, on the other side of the building and throughout the building, because the Pentagon is so big that when the plane hit, everyone in the building did not know right away. It took a little bit of time for the information to be communicated through the 5 sides of that gigantic building to let everybody know, uh-oh, we got a bit of a mishap. before it was communicated to everyone in the Pentagon. These are military professionals now. People complained of smelling cordite. Cordite is a very specific substance that is used in missiles and rockets. So before people knew that a quote-unquote plane hit the Pentagon, those military professionals, some of whom are trained and experienced in demolition, said, this is odd. Why do I smell cordite, which is a very specific mineral that is used in missiles? Also keeping in mind that when the plane hit Tower 1, you could see the slits from when the wings flew into the building. But when the plane, a similar plane, flew into the Pentagon, what those wings didn't make any mark in the side of the building. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to stoke a conspiracy theory, because it's not a conspiracy. How things worked before. In most states, you would register to vote by declaring or swearing that you're a U.S. citizen. Election officials may verify that information, but you usually don't have to show physical proof of citizenship. That is how you register to vote in like 46 of 50 states. There are a couple of other states, and I'll get to those in a second, that have something similar, I think, to the SAVE Act, but it doesn't go nearly as far, because there are a couple of states that change their rules and their laws to make sure that only citizens are voting in those states. Arizona is one of them. Arizona doesn't play. They make sure that every single person is a documented, verified, naturalized U.S. citizen before they can vote. But all the other states just make you sign something, because most people wouldn't want to risk prison and a felony and deportation for voting in an election. But here's the other ironic thing. If migrants and immigrants and undocumented people and people who are not here legally were all voting for Republicans, this bill wouldn't exist. They know that they are making lives very, very difficult for people who are undocumented, regardless of what country you are from. And the Republicans know that those people who are in this country, and they may have been here, this is the thing, everybody ain't here illegally. There were people that were brought to this country and they get special work permits and special visas because they have a skill that Americans don't have. They work for companies, they work for businesses. You know who else was really hit by these Donald Trump immigration policies? The Milwaukee Bucks. The whole NBA. You know how many foreigners play basketball for the NBA? And because they are, the NBA, they got and were able to obtain special work permit visas for foreign basketball players. The NBA has not even been able to bring people over. And there are some of their players that now are under threat of deportation, which is insane to me. But that's how harsh these immigration policies are. And the Republicans know, because they're not stupid, but they think that we are, which is worse. They know that these policies are unpopular. And the people who are most impacted by them, they want to make sure that those people who are, and it's not even the people that are not here lawfully, it's friends, it's their families, it's their coworkers, it's this collection of people who know and love and have great reverence and respect for someone who is working on their citizenship. All of those people, when we know how unpopular these immigration policies are, and so they want to make it harder for everyone to vote, because Republicans know if you allow the system to remain as it is, how we've currently been voting, and you don't tinker with the system and tamper with the system, the Republicans are going to lose every single opportunity to gain a seat in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. And so they have to change the rules. And it's going to impact people who are already citizens, because some of y'all are not going to get the necessary documentation. You're just not going to do it. I will, a lot of you will, but it doesn't matter that I will and a lot of you will. It's the handful of people that won't. In Wisconsin since 2016, our elections have been decided by 30,000 votes or less. I guarantee you there's 30,000 people just in Milwaukee that will not go and get the necessary and additional documentation to prove their citizenship to go and vote. Because I'm going to tell you what, it's like pulling teeth trying to get people to vote in an election where there aren't unnecessary and artificial barriers. It's already difficult. And if you have to now take another step, go get more documentation, because you have to do all this stuff to re-register to vote. I've seen it before where someone moves. They may have moved in the last 4 years. They go to my polling location. I've been voting in my polling location since 2006. I know everything and everybody going on at that polling location. And I've seen people that have, because there's a registration table right when you walk in. And someone will, well, first they'll go to the ward that they live in. And then the poll worker pulls out the poll book and their name is not in the poll book. And the poll worker will ask them, hey, have you moved recently? And the person will say, well, yes. And their address on their ID may not match the address for that particular ward because they haven't gotten their identification updated yet. So then they have to go either to another polling location where they previously voted at, or they need to re-register to vote. The number of people that I've seen just walk away. Oh, okay, I'll come back later then. Oh, I got to re-register. Oh, I got to go back to my other polling location because my ID address is not reflective of the ward in which I'm trying to vote in. Okay, I'll just come back later, and they never go back. 30,000 people will absolutely do that in these upcoming elections. Especially this election for governor, which I am more worried about than you could ever imagine. I am so disappointed. I'm so disappointed in these candidates. Democrats will do a lot of things. They will. They'll want you to have lower prescription drug prices. They'll want to raise wages. They'll want to make sure that public education and education is invested in. Like, they'll do those things. But you know what else they'll do? They'll embarrass us. They will just... If Mandela Barnes gets his party's nomination for governor in the state of Wisconsin, Tom Tiffany will win. And Tom Tiffany is about as Trump-loving. He's already been endorsed by Trump. He is as Trump-loving and Trump-supporting as you could ever imagine, meaning we would have a version 2 of Donald Trump leading the state of Wisconsin. Now, I think the legislature's makeup may change, but imagine Tom Tiffany being elected governor of Wisconsin and having a Republican majority in the state Senate and the state Assembly. Life will be unrecognizable for some of us here in the state of Wisconsin. And that is a tremendous fear that I have. And also, a scenario like that comes into fruition because of this bill, this SAVE Act, in which I know 30 or 40 or 50 or 70 or 80,000 people are not going to go through the extra hoops that they'll have to jump through to register to vote, which gives more opportunity for the strength of the Republican vote to be realized come November. Supporters of the legislation say it strengthens election security, it prevents non-citizens from voting, and it increases public confidence in elections. All lies. Critics say it could make it harder for eligible citizens to vote, especially people who don't have easy access to documents like birth certificates, married women whose names have changed, older or low-income individuals. They also point out that documented cases of non-citizen voting are so rare they're almost non-existent. I'm going to take a break, come back, continue our little chit-chat, and make sure you head on over to the YouTube. I want you to vote in this poll. Who's easier to work for, men or women? Oh, it is. It is decisive how you all have voted so far. Xavier, can people that tune into YouTube, can they see the percentages when they look at the poll? When they vote, they can see the percentage. Okay. You guys are a bunch of misogynists out there. Are you seeing the misogyny right here?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
How come y'all don't like working for the women folk?
I personally prefer to work for a woman.
So do I. Every time.
It's a lot easier.
There's some nuance, though. What kind of woman? A lesbian woman? A straight woman? A black woman? A white woman? An Asian woman? A Latina woman? Very different, very... And I've worked for... Oh, boy. White woman... Easiest time ever. Oh, Sherwin, just get around to it when you get around to it. But what are you up to this weekend? Sherwin, are you dating? You know, I've got a daughter about your age. I work for black women. Tough. A little tough. Let me not stereotype black women, but how the work day went depended on how she felt. If she didn't feel good, you're not going to feel good either. I want to tell a story about a black woman I used to work for, but I don't want to. Maybe I'll tell that story on the other side. It scared the hell out of me. Whenever her door was closed, I panicked because I heard the conversation she would have with the door open. Talking about like way confidential, like way personal stuff. I'm like, damn, you talk about this stuff with the door open? But then when she closed her door, because I could always hear when she was on the phone, I was like, damn, what are you talking about with your door closed? When I literally heard her make gynecologist appointments with the door wide open. I'm like, that's personal. Nobody needs to hear about your annual. But then when she went and closed that door, I was like, damn. All right, I'm going to take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, Gruber Law Offices and The Truth have raised the stakes for this year. The One Call That's All Gruber Cash giveaway is now a $5K giveaway. Yes, you heard it right. $5,000 giveaway. Every weekday on 101.7 The Truth, you will have the chance to be entered to win the 5K giveaway. Listen to The Truth for the One Call That's All cue to call for your chance to win $5,000. Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All. Visit 101.7thetruth.com for official contest rules.
Hey, Truth Nation, it's your girl DT. You want to mark your calendar. Saturday, March 28th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Cream City and Milwaukee chapters of the Links Incorporated present the Black Family Wellness Expo at Evolve Church. Free health screenings, mental health resources, nutrition and wellness education, family-friendly activities, trusted community providers, no cost, walk-ins are welcome. Let's strengthen and sustain healthy Black families together. March 28th, Evolve Church. Be there.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
They treated me like family.
They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
A message from Tia Mowry, actress and Fair Celebrity Ambassador.
Game day isn't staged, it's lived. It's the shopping, the cooking, the laughter. For families managing food allergy, that same spirit of preparation means everything. Because food allergy isn't a lifestyle. It's a serious, life-threatening disease that can change everything in a moment. But being ready changes the story. It's knowing the signs, having a plan, and carrying epinephrine everywhere life takes you. Epinephrine is the only treatment that can stop a severe food allergy reaction known as anaphylaxis. It works quickly to reverse the symptoms and can save lives. As families and friends gather for the big game, we see what community looks like. It's one built on awareness, care, and love in action. Because readiness doesn't take away the risk. It brings back the joy. When you're ready to act, you're ready to live.
Visit foodallergy.org/ready to act to learn more.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a city that knows how to celebrate, like St. Patrick's Day yesterday. I hope you all had a good one. Where the calendar is packed with festivals, plates are piled high with flavor, and the lakefront sunrises set the stage for unforgettable days. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring. It's a place that welcomes you with open arms, and where joy is shared through bites of food, beats of music, and cheers for our favorite sports teams. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. All right, everybody. Yeah, I used to get scared when that particular female boss had her door closed because she would have She'd have even personnel conversations about people getting fired. She either didn't care that I was listening or she didn't know. I don't know what it was. She was always real cool to me, but I also did my level best to avoid her. Some people in the workplace, you have the best relationships with them when you just don't see them. When you don't interact with them, when you know what I mean? You don't pass them in the hallway, you just don't see them at all. Those are some of the best relationships. I have found, in my experience, now I've worked for mostly either for myself or for Democratic elected officials who are known for having lots of women on their staffs. Trump has kind of changed that paradigm a little bit because previously, Republicans didn't really hire women for like high-level policy positions. Trump does because he wants women to take the fall for some of the illegal and unconstitutional things he's doing. Do not be deceived and think that Donald Trump loves women. He puts women in those positions because he hates them, and they will be responsible for all of the missteps, the mishaps, and the illegalities of his administration. I'll give you the most prime example I could give anybody. The only person in prison right now for what Jeffrey Epstein did to those children is a woman. On purpose. Women were the victims. I don't know of a single male victim in the Epstein file. Now, there might be some now. But most of them were women and girls. And a woman is in prison. Now, she's in a minimum security prison, which we find a little unusual because that's not normal for someone who's been convicted of violent crimes. And sexual assault of children is, in fact, a violent crime. And she's in like a country club type of a prison. But if Ghislaine Maxwell is not the best example of how these people hate women so very much, I mean, think about how they use little girls. That's not because they love those little girls, because they see them as less than human. So Trump is unique, at least on the surface. And you would think, oh, wow, he gives all these women all these great opportunities. Yeah, Kristi Noem also got fired while she was doing a press conference. He didn't even have the respect to tell her privately because he doesn't care about women. He doesn't even care about his wife. So I have worked for Democratic elected officials, and I've had a lot of women bosses because I believe that the Democrats that I work for, whether it be a previous governor, a previous mayor, or a member of Congress that I worked for, they all had respect and reverence for the thoughts, feelings, sentiments, and opinions, professional opinions of women. And also, women, I think, maybe used to make up the backbone of Democratic Party voters. I'm not entirely sure anymore because there's a favoritism, at least of white women, in voting for Republicans and voting for Donald Trump. So I have found it, I guess, reasonable to deal with working with women. Once you can assess her mood, you know how to respond accordingly. And basically it's because anybody who has a mama knows, and also any man that's married, happy wife, happy life. A lot of that philosophy, even though it's highly unprofessional, it applies to the work day and it applies to the office setting. Men, in my opinion, unreasonable to work for. Let's talk more about that on the other side and other things. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Coming with straight truth.
Did you go along with this? Did you plot this out? Did you go into the store with the intentions of causing a negative situation? This is the part that people don't like once they get into court after they get caught. Now, should he be executed for killing somebody he didn't do? I don't think so. He's already serving life. He's going to die in prison. I think that that's what's going to happen. At the same time, this is a message to the younger folks.
Catch the Tory Lowe Show every weekday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Many of our most important memories are made at school. But for children like Victoria, the classroom can be a place of fear and isolation. She wore a bandage over her cleft every day, too shy to speak, too afraid to smile. Everything changed after one life-transforming surgery made possible by Smile Train. Today, Victoria's smile lights up her classroom, a symbol of confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
Get the truth and nothing but the truth with Sherwin Hughes every weekday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 a.m. WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Talked about the SAVE Act during the first hour, all the details you're going to need to know. Basically, you're going to be a non-registered voter until you prove that you're an American citizen. And there's going to be some details and some documents you're going to have to provide all over again. Even if you just registered to vote, you're going to have to register again under the SAVE Act. If it passes, let's keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't, but that doesn't mean there won't be some other underhanded trick to make it more difficult, just slightly more difficult for a small number of voters to cast their ballots. Remember, in Wisconsin, our statewide elections are decided by 30,000 votes or less. If you go to youtube.com, or if you open your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device, search The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, hit subscribe. You'll be able to live stream the program on YouTube, chat amongst our very loquacious chatters, and also vote in what I think is a curious poll question that we have for you on the YouTube. Who is easier to work for? I guess we could have also phrased it, who is harder to work for? But who is easier? So when you are applying at a new company and you meet the boss, you meet your manager, you meet the CEO, or whoever you're working for directly, because sometimes the person you work for you never see. Like your direct, assuming you're not the direct supervisor. Maybe you are a supervisor, maybe you are a manager, or you're an upper level manager and you report to the CEO, CFO, COO. Is it easier if the CEO, CFO, COO is a man or a woman? I personally, this is me, your opinion may vary. In my working career, it has been easier to work for women. Because at the end of the day, as tough as nails as some women are, there's a side of them that you can still appeal to that transcends the job. There is a human factor to women that I have noticed, and maybe the women that I have worked for are skewed more left-leaning, more empathetic, and more liberal because I've worked for Democratic politicians for the majority of my career. The empathy can be appealed to even at work. Yes, there's a job to get done. There's things you have to accomplish. There's benchmarks that you have to hit. But there also is a human side. Like, women just seem to understand life be lifing. Here's the problem that I have with working for men. And it's not all men, because I've worked for some decent dudes. Some of the men can be kind of extreme. I suppose anybody can be extreme. Extreme in either they macro-manage, like, hey, here's your tasks for the year. See you next March. And then you just don't have any interaction with them whatsoever. They are going to trust. Now, I'm not saying that women can't and don't do this either when they are in professional leadership positions. But the macro manager is a trait that I have noticed distinctly in some men bosses. Like, we hired you to do a job. We expect you to know how to do the job because we trust the people that hired you. Here's what you need to accomplish. Go have at it. If you have any questions or anything, shoot me an email. We'll set up a meeting. And then that's it. You do your job. And then there is the total and complete opposite. There are some men in the micromanagement that I have had, and again, this is just me, your situations may vary. The micromanagers have been the men. 100%. And it also worries me because those men, you can tell they have no control at home, but they're going to get control at work. Oh, they're going to run this tight shit. Well, so can you just write down for me what you're doing every 15 minutes and then email me? I'm also going to need you to send me a text. And also, I'll write it down. Actually, handwritten notes, and then put on a Post-it note, and then I want you to send it via courier to my office. And I'm going to be out of the office for a meeting. Can you have somebody ride a bicycle over and bring the Post-it note of what you were doing 13 minutes ago? And then we're gonna do a conference call. Okay? At the end of the day, we're just going to wrap it on up. We're going to have a conference call. In fact, you know what? Why don't you just come on over to the house? Sherwin, you going to join us for the company outing? Nope. No, I'm not, because every day at work is a company outing. A micromanaging male is the worst thing. You know what else? And I hate to say this because I don't want to get into the whole stereotyping thing. Men can be dramatically more sensitive. Like, the men will act like a stereotypical woman, which makes it even worse because then you can't even relate to them as a man. They'll take their job so seriously and they'll get so emotional about it that they're going to be the ones that get angry. They're going to be the ones to raise their voices, and they're going to be the ones that throw hissy fits. I have never worked for a woman that threw a hissy fit. 70% of the men I work for have. It's like, dude. Because then it's a matter of, like, you're a man, I'm a man. At some point, if you're both grown adults, age doesn't matter. Because I respect men. I know what men deal with. I know what men go through. We all know what it's like. We know what those burdens are like, how the world doesn't really care about us that much. Like, the only emotion that men are able to show is either we're fine or we're angry. You really can't be anything else. And because we're all men, we know and we understand that. And then there's just the men that they just unbearably insecure. Women deal with insecurities differently than men do. Because a part of, and it's unfortunate, right? A part of being a woman is to be made to feel insecure, right? A lot of it is physical beauty. That we put a lot of pressure on women. We do, and I don't think that that's fair because men don't have some of the same physical pressures that women do. But women get it. They understand what it's like. Better than some of these crybaby men. It's so bad. And they get attitudes, and then they, like, men do the silent treatment. It's so gross. And then I can't respect you as a man. Screw you being, a boss or something like that in a position of professional authority. The moment I see you as less than a man, because here's the thing about men. We can disagree, but we also have an ability to level with one another. And men also have this really weird kind of unspoken rule that we keep each other in check because when men's relationships go south, violence is always circulating. We keep each other in check because if you think about it, just look at the statistics, men kill each other. We just do. I mean, we killed women too, but violence is always a tool. Now, you don't pull it out, obviously, but it keeps us reasonably respectful if there's a disagreement. And most men understand that, but there are some men, I think, that they feel they're so insecure and they're so powerless, but they're going to get their power via their professional status. And to me, that's less than a man, because you shouldn't have to use whatever professional status you've gained to have power over another man, because you can lose that professional status in a second. And then who are you? There's a way in which I think men can cooperate based on principles that are understood of being men. But the problem is not enough men are men. There's this phenomenon that men in particular, so boys and then maturing into a man, if they don't deal with enough adversity and stress, they stay childlike. So if a man has not battled difficulties, if they haven't had to struggle, so these bulldozer and these helicopter parents, even your girls, I understand that you want to protect them. And then there's a possibility, it's not always 100%, that when girls turn into women and they go out into the world, it is possible that a society or another man or collections of men can protect those women. They can victimize them too. But we still have a level of chivalry, or there's an expectation of chivalry, because chivalry protects women. There's still an expectation of that in the world, that you don't make women do certain things. You don't make them do the heavy lifting. You open the doors for them. You carry their bags for them. You do those things as a way to protect the fragility of feminism, right? But when you do that for a boy, when you don't tell him no, when you don't let him fall on his face and figure out how to solve his own problems, because life is going to be harder and shorter for a man. I really believe that. I know women, you guys think you have it hard as well. It's real hard for a man because we are not able to express human emotion. And that, when kept inside, makes men literally insane and makes us killers. But when we bulldoze and helicopter parent boys and they never have to deal with adversity or being told no, a spoiled boy, dramatically worse than a spoiled woman. Because here's the thing. Hell, if I love her enough, I'll continue to spoil her. Should nobody spoil a man, especially other men. And so men that never had to, because there's some men that had the silver spoon. They grew up with money. They never had to deal with anything. They never had to fight. They never got, part of the problem is some of these men never got their asses kicked. That'll humble you in a second. You get your ass kicked a couple times and like, oh, okay, I understand how it is. I sometimes have to watch my mouth because I will be held accountable for what I say by somebody else's fist to my cheekbone. But if you have these boys that grow up where the parents just clear all the obstacles and they get everything they want, and sometimes those boys turn into men and they've never had to deal with adversity, and they become incredibly spoiled, they become egotistical, and they become self-righteous. And these are some of the worst narcissists. And here's the thing, they haven't even earned some of the positions that they have in life. And then having somebody like that rule over you, having somebody like that telling you what you should and shouldn't do, having somebody like that with the power of your employment in their hands is nauseating. I have never seen that before in a woman, and there's always a man. Insecure men are dangerous. Insecure men shoot up schools and workplaces. Insecure men are involuntarily celibate, meaning nobody wants to hump them. An unhumped man is a dangerous man. Fellas, you know how it is. Let me talk to you for a second. Ladies, you're more than welcome to listen. Fellas, you know how it is when you know what I mean? When it's been a long time since, you know what I'm saying, you've enjoyed the comfort, calming affections of a lovely woman. You know, you get built up, you get backed up. Fellas, every now and again, you got to get the poison out. You know what I mean? You got to get it out. Otherwise, it'll make you nuts. And there's some men that never have the opportunity. You got to get it out. And then you're good. You can tell a man that gets laid. You can. There's a personality or there's a vibe, and women can tell too. Because those oftentimes are the men that are most attractive to women, because he's just like, yeah, no, that's fine. No, those reports, can you get those done? Yeah, we'd like to get those done. Yeah, no, I get it. No, I understand. It's cool. Just I'll follow up within a couple of days just so you know that I'm still on you about it. But just, no, it's cool. And then there's the man who still has the poison inside. I thought I told you about those reports. Why haven't you given me the reports? I think we need to have a conference call and we need to have a meeting. I just sent it to your calendar inbox. We need to make sure that the reports, as opposed to the man that got his poison out. Yeah, we want to make sure those reports are they're spectacular. You know what I mean? That's what we're going to base our budget off of next year. You know what I'm saying about the budget? No, yeah, I get it. No, it's a lot of work. I'll tell you what, if you need a little help, come on to my office. We'll work it out together. I just want to make sure we get it done. If you need me to help you out, because I'm a manager here, I understand that you got a lot of stuff going on. We put a lot of stuff on your plate. All right? No, we'll help you get that report done. As opposed to the fella that hasn't gotten the poison out. Why on earth did we even hire you to do the report? I'm going to come over to your house tonight, and we're going to sit there, and we're going to... Sometimes men are just a little more difficult to work for. I'm going to take a break. When I come back, I have one of my favorite... You guys know how I love surveys and polls because I like data, because data and numbers speak to me in color. Because we don't always talk to everybody in our society, but when companies do large surveys, we get a better idea of how our fellow Americans feel about certain things. And so one of my favorite surveys of them all is called the American Time Use Survey. I've always been fascinated by how we use our time. We all have roughly the same amount of hours in a day. How do we spend that time? And so the survey that I have, this is so good. And it breaks it down by gender. How do men versus women spend their time across 12 different categories? I think the results of this is going to absolutely shock you. So when I come back, we're going to talk about the latest American Time Use Survey and how men and women divide their days up and how they spend their time sleeping, eating, doing housework, spending money, caregiving, working, watching TV, socializing, relaxing, exercising, civic/religious activities, and personal grooming. I swear to you, some of these details will absolutely shock you about these differences between how men and women choose to spend their time. And remember, the American Time Use Survey is representative of the United States, and they survey 26,000 people. So the sample size is adequate enough to give us some accurate results. On the other side, let's figure out and discuss how men and women choose to spend their time. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Thank you, Milwaukee. Because of you, the second annual Truth Community Awards was an unforgettable celebration of the leaders, changemakers, and heroes who make our city shine. A special thank you to our incredible partners, Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Cousins Subs, and 3rd Street Market Hall. And thank you to our presenting sponsor, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Together, we're celebrating community, culture, and impact. We'll see you next year at the Truth Community Awards.
Natural gas is a clean, reliable, and convenient source of energy delivered directly to you through underground pipelines. The pipeline system has an excellent safety record, but there are clues that can help you identify a potential hazard. If you smell the strong odor of rotten eggs, hear an unusual hissing sound, or see blowing dirt or debris, it could be a natural gas leak. Leave the area immediately and call We Energies at 800-261-5325.
We Energies. People you can trust. Energy you can depend on.
Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. We're a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals, the plates are piled high with flavor, and a lakefront sunrise sets the stage. Here in Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring, a place that welcomes you with open arms and where joy is shared in bites, beats, and cheers. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
After an accident, don't wait to get the help you need. Call Gruber Law Offices first. There is no fee until we win your case. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
When I looked at some of these numbers, I was a little shocked. And well, some are stereotypical of how men and women, via the American Time Use Survey, choose to spend their time. Some are stereotypical, some are as expected. There are others that, and there also is a change over time, because what the survey does is it looks at how people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s spend their time, and you can see this arc over the decades of how we choose to prioritize different things. Some of it lays bare the disparity that we see between men and women in one particular category that I'll get to in a moment. I got to read some of these comments coming in via YouTube. What the hell are you guys talking about? Randy says, working with any group of people is okay as long as there is no favoritism or any form of attraction amongst the group. Usually, jealousy can be a dog, too. I've never worked. No, I don't think I've ever worked at a place where there was no favoritism. And it becomes unprofessional, it becomes toxic. If you're going to favor somebody, do it in private. Don't let the entire staff know, because then resentment builds in, and resentment kills the harmony of a workplace. Now, let me be clear about this, too. There have been times where I was the favorite. When I worked for Congressman Tom Barrett, I was the only man in the district office. So we had two offices. We had one in the Germanium building, actually, on 2nd and Wells. That was the district office. And then the other office, of course, was in Washington, D.C., and there were the gender dynamic in the Washington, D.C. office was like 50-50. But in the district office here in Milwaukee, I was the only man. I come to find out that some women don't get along with each other. They all love me. They love me. And the district manager, she and I are still good friends. And I left, Tom ain't been in Congress in 20 years. She and I are still very good friends. they would be more likely to socialize and interact with me than with each other. It was a very unusual dynamic. And I felt uncomfortable at first because I was in my 20s. And I'm working with all women, and they were all way older than me. Thank God. Because if there were at that time, if there were attractive women working in that office that were near my age, that would have been a bit of a problem. Because I was a young, strapping buck. You know what I mean? So when I worked on a presidential campaign 2 years later, that was a problem. I don't know if you guys know about presidential campaigns, and I don't know how they are now, but back then, so Wisconsin was such a reliably blue state. We were not purple at all. Wisconsin was blue. In fact, in that era, Wisconsin was on like a 20-year streak of being blue in presidential elections. So we're almost like what Illinois is now. Illinois doesn't need a tremendous amount of surrogate travel and a lot of campaign stops and a lot of money spending because Illinois is going to be a blue state. In fact, nobody campaigns in Illinois. Trump tried to have a fundraiser in Chicago, and people took to the streets in such a number, Trump canceled the fundraiser. Shout out to Illinois for that. So Wisconsin used to be like that. And so what Wisconsin would do, because it was so reliably blue, or at least Milwaukee was, a lot of people would come into the state of Wisconsin and do, like numbers work and field work and data work. And yeah, there were some red areas of the state at the time where we would dispatch people. But for the most part, Wisconsin was pretty reliably blue. So we would get a lot of people from other states to come into the state of Wisconsin during presidential campaigns. And as we move closer to work, because in 2000, what was the election results in 2004? I think it was 11,000 or 12,000 votes. So we were starting to lose our blue status. And so we would import a few more people to help us work on red areas and get the word out and knock on a whole bunch of doors. But we would have all of these young people. And I remember at the time I was in my 20s. We'd have all of these beautiful, liberal women from all over the country that would stay in Wisconsin and help us with the presidential campaign. But Sherwin, we're from California, and we're from New York, and we're from Maine and New Hampshire, and we're from North Carolina and South Carolina, and Sherwin, we're from Indiana, and we're from Michigan. A lot of people from red states would then come and work on the presidential campaign in Wisconsin. And they would say, but Sherwin, we don't know where to go. We want to hang out and we want to socialize because we're not from here. Oh, yeah? You guys want to know where to socialize? Yes, Dad. Sherwin, we do. All right. Let's make sure we're hitting our targets of how many doors we got to knock on. Then about 7 o'clock, why don't you guys meet me at the spot? Yes, Dad. Sure. It's a good time. Had a lot of fun. Working with any group of people is okay, Randy says, as long as there's no favoritism, any form of attraction amongst the group. Yeah, it can mess up a workplace if people are humping each other because it just screws up the dynamic. Because how do you take somebody seriously? How do you take coworkers seriously that are humping each other? You can't. It's like screw both of you, literally. And then they're actually screwing each other. But the favoritism is a problem because there's some people that they get their identity. And I feel real bad for these people, but you can't tell them that because they're real sensitive. They get their identity from their job. Like what they do for a living is literally who they are. And you can't infringe on that. You can't threaten that. And the problem with those people is they expect everybody else to be just like them because they love their job so much because it's the most they've ever accomplished and it's the most status they've ever had and probably the most status they ever will get. They take their job so seriously that if you don't take your job as seriously as they do, they look at you as less than. And what troubles me about those folks is that there's a loyalty that can exist for whomever you work for, whether it be the brand or the company or even the person that you work for. And sometimes loyalty suffices for performance. If you're real mediocre, but do everything that they tell you to do, even if it's against your best wishes, even if you stop prioritizing yourself and you prioritize the company, which will fire your ass in a second. But they like that sometimes. They want you to not have a life or not have an identity or not have any boundaries so they can use you and place you and put you wherever they want that's more suitable for the profitability of the company. And it's so, so bad. And you can be a terrible, like there's some people that are, you got to wonder. So here's my thing. There have been people that I have worked with over my many, many years of being in the workforce where I work with them for years. Like you get to know people, even if you don't want to. You get to know their habits. You certainly get to know their work ethic over the period of time in which you work with them. You don't even have to be friends with them. You become familiar with people working in their proximity for years. There have been people I work with for years, and I still, after years of working with them, don't know what they're good at. Just don't know where, because everybody needs to have some kind of skill, and the skill that they have should shine through. It should be evident what their skill set is. Can you imagine working for someone for years and not knowing what they're good at except being loyal? That's what makes working for companies and businesses sometimes, and even other people, really, really difficult because they just prioritize loyalty. And there's really mediocre, less than mediocre. Like, I want to work with excellent people everywhere all the time. And I'm very fortunate here at 101.7 The Truth. I work with some very excellent people. Thank God. Whew. But there have been other places and spaces where people are average or below. It's also like it's the exhibition of MPS test scores in reality. Because if you look at these test scores, these test scores are not new. And it's not even MPS. It can be another public school system from somewhere else that also has really bad test scores, and those people find their way into college and they get associate's degrees, or lo and behold, they get a bachelor's degree, and they're just dim. And you got to work with them. And it's just, because you can't tell them they're dim because that'll get you in HR. You know what I mean? You also have to be very careful around them because they're very sensitive and they have to have their egos fed because I think they know that they suck. But you can't tell them and you can't show them that they suck. You got to give them praise for stuff that they do. And it's so uncomfortable. If the commitment was just to the job, and if you do your job really, really good and leave out all that other ancillary, petty, personal, like even to this day, I don't do the work happy hours. If I'm going to do a happy hour, I'm going to do it with y'all. That's got its own risks too, but I shy away from, company events and company Christmas party. I just don't, because I work with these folks. You know what I'm saying? And you don't get to know me personally. You don't have access to that because they're going to use it against you. Oh, I've seen it so many times. Somebody goes to the company function, gets a little too drunk, gets a little too mouthy, a little too lippy, disclose a little bit too much. Next thing you know, you get that email. We thank so-and-so for their many years of dedicated service. Just don't. Corporate environments, ladies and gentlemen, government environment, any kind of public, private, they're cutthroat. And you don't even know it a lot of times. Not always, especially black professionals. Listen, they want our heads. This DEI stuff that Donald Trump is overturning, it is now permeating. 38,000 black women are losing their jobs a month, and we can't figure out why. I'm going to tell you why. Because as discrimination becomes not only more commonplace, where we as black people go to have our discrimination claims investigated to the Department of Justice, that department has been cleared out and everyone has been put into immigration enforcement. So we don't even have the federal backing to get our claims investigated, and we are being discriminated against and we are being fired. So please operate with caution because you may not know who at your job wants you gone. Or here's the much more dangerous part, especially if you're black, because they don't think that we've earned our positions. I don't care where you go, unless you're president of the United States, and they didn't think Barack Obama earned his position. So trust me, they think even less about you. Here's what's most dangerous, and I'm going to get to the American Time Use Survey in a minute. Don't worry, we got time. A person at your job, and you may not even interact with them. You may not even really know them, but they know you. Well, their sister maybe just got divorced, or their cousin happens to be out of work, or one of their college roommates is looking for a job. And the job that college roommate, that cousin or that sister is looking for is what you do. And they will set you up to get you fired so they can bring in their sister, their cousin, their college roommate. That happens a lot, and you'll never see it coming. So it is okay to have professional boundaries, and they need to respect that. I've had to set them before. I got this thing, and maybe it's because I'm old, but I'll be old. I'm not gonna sacrifice who I am and what I've learned for whatever the common culture is, because the common culture today is garbage. Don't text my cell phone. Don't do it. Unless we've had a conversation where you as a coworker or a colleague, unless I've given you permission, I've had a fit about this. And what's crazy is the boundary lines are so blurred nowadays, because I think everyone has so much access to everybody else because of all the social media, whatever, that when someone sent me a text message to my personal cell phone for something work-related, way outside of working hours, where it was just, it's an email. I'd rather it be on email, because then I got a record of it, you got a record of it, and hell, the company has a record of it too. And so they text my cell phone. And here's the thing, it wasn't even that big of a deal. It was something that could have waited until Monday. But they found it necessary to text my cell phone, right? And listen, I don't blame the person, because sometimes when these boundaries are blurred, they don't know any better. But it's my job to teach you better. If I did not give you my cell phone number, don't text me. We have so many other ways professionally to communicate. And also, it gets weird, because if they need documentation or something, I got to open up my cell phone, and I just don't. But I guess this younger generation, they all text each other. And I've had to have some kind of exception to it, but for the most part, if I don't give you, I've had people take my phone number off of a group chat. Don't do that. That's foul. That's dirty. That's a dirty birdie. Just get permission. It's not, and it's also a level of professional respect, right? I see colleagues as colleagues. They're not necessarily peers. You know what I mean? All right, rant over. No, it's not. But I'm going to take a break. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because we know you love working weekends, if it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, this is the night you don't want to miss. Thanalysis Live is back. March 27th at the Riverside Theater in downtown Milwaukee. You never know who's going to step on stage. Thanalysis has shocked the crowd in past years with surprise appearances by Giannis and Stephen A. Smith. This year, Ric Flair headlines Thanalysis Live. The WWE legend, the Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy. You know there will be plenty of surprises. Friday night, March 27th at the Riverside Theaters. Lock in your tickets now. TALiveshow.com. That's TALiveshow.com.
I take care of the kids. And I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries. The cleanups. The meltdowns. The doctor's visits. The family events. Mealtimes. Bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available, because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
Dad's going to be far side. Good.
What should I do with my dress?
Do little wiggles.
The slate's coming in. What does it feel like when you're down or having a bad day?
It feels sad, like you just don't want to do anything.
All my little emotions in my head is just running crazy. I don't know what to do.
As a teacher or coach, do you ever feel overwhelmed supporting kids' mental health?
I had never experienced players being so down that they can't even participate.
He's just in tears in the huddle. I didn't know what to do.
Teachers need tons of help.
Kids Mental Health Foundation offers educational materials to help guide conversations with our students.
It's so important that we are constantly educating ourselves.
It's the same as the CPR class to me. We're trying to save a life here.
The Kids Mental Health Foundation has free tools and information developed by experts because kids' mental health starts with all of us. Scan the QR code or check out kidsmentalhealthfoundation.org to get started.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's that time of year again. The Tory Low community cleanup is a-coming. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. until noon as we will be cleaning up the city of Milwaukee. Again, that is the Tory Low Community Cleanup on Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. until noon. Bring the whole family to help clean up our city. The Tory Low Community Cleanup is sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhafels, Cousin Subs, and, of course, Waste Management. So get on out there and pick up a bunch of garbage. April 18th. Also, stay tuned to the program because we're going to give you a chance to win $5,000 courtesy of 1017 The Truth and Gruber Law Offices. Our Gruber 5K cash giveaway entry for the day is coming up real soon. All right, I went on a bit of a rant because I just want people to operate with the spirit of competitiveness in the workplace. Just because you have the job doesn't mean that the competition is off because somebody wants your job or they want you gone. And, of course, performance is always measured. Just don't fall into these personal traps. It's weird because, like, they'll say, oh, so any workplace that calls itself a family is toxic. No, it's not. Now, because some people, and I don't want people to think I'm talking about here, but, I mean, I got 30-something years of experience in the job market. They want you to think that they're like family because they want you to prioritize them like family. But then if they fire you, you'll never speak to them again. I fired members of my own family, and I'm at their house for dinner that night. It's different. It was calculated how much time U.S. adults spend each day on different activities in hours and minutes. The American Time Survey, what's the specific name of it? I'll make sure I get it right. The American Time Use Survey looked at 12 different activities to see how Americans spend their time in a typical day, including activities like sleeping and eating and housework. The Time Survey calculated how much time U.S. adults spend on each activity in a day, on average, in hours and minutes. It is then displayed on this little stopwatch that I can see that you can't see. The stopwatch shows that Americans spend an average of 1 hour and 57 minutes a day doing housework. What? No. Is that 2 hours a day? No. Hold on now. So I do most of my housework on the weekends. Saturday and Sunday, I'm cleaning the kitchen, the bathrooms, doing my laundry, doing my vacuuming and doing my dusting. But I spread it out over 2 days, and it's maybe 2 hours on a Saturday, 2 hours on, I'm 4 hours a week, but I'm also one person. Some of y'all got 35 kids. But men and women sometimes differ in the amount of time they dedicate to each activity. For example, men spend an average of 1 hour and 34 minutes on housework a day, while the average for men and women is 1 hour and 57 minutes because women have a higher average time of doing housework. This makes sense. Men across all age groups spend 1 hour and 34 minutes on housework. Women spend 2 hours and 19 minutes. There's a way in which I want to explain that, and I hope I'm allowed grace to explain it without some of you ladies getting angry with me. All right, let me get into the nitty-gritty. Let's do sleeping. This makes sense. In your 20s, on average, from the American Time Use survey of 26,000 people, men in their 20s sleep an average of, what? 9 hours and 18 minutes a night? How, Sway? There's people that sleep. When do you go to bed then? 9 hours? I don't even know what that math is like. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that means I have to go to bed at 9 p.m.? Hell no, I'm just getting warmed up at 9 p.m., going to bed at 9 p.m. What am I, 5? In their 20s, men get, this is average now, 9 hours and 18 minutes of sleep. Women get 9 hours and 32 minutes of sleep. In your 30s, men average 8 hours and 39 minutes of sleep. Women average 8 hours and 58 minutes. Wake your lazy asses up, women. All that. You don't need all that damn sleep. In your 40s, men average 8 hours and 44 minutes of sleep. Women average 8 hours and 45 minutes of sleep. All right, that's getting close to parity. In the 50s, men average 8 hours and 34 minutes of sleep. Women average 8 hours and 56 minutes. Ladies, what are you sleeping so much for? You got work to do. 60s, men average 8 hours and 50 minutes of sleep. Women average 8 hours and 59 minutes of sleep. I'm going to tell you what, if I'm sleeping for 8 hours and 50 minutes, I'm not letting her get that extra 9 minutes of sleep. Wake your ass up. I'm awake, you're awake too. I rise, you rise. I'm like the sun. When I get up, everybody gets up. And in their 70s, men average 9 hours and 10 minutes of sleep. Women average 9 hours and 17 minutes. So it looks like across every single age group, women sleep more. Where it's closest to parity is in the 40s, where men average 8 hours and 44 minutes of sleep and women average 8 hours and 45 minutes of sleep. And again, if I wake up first, you're waking up too. Let's get us another category. Ooh, how about eating? This is insane. Men in their 20s average 1 hour and 9 minutes a day eating. Oh, with women, it's the exact same amount of time. Women in their 20s average 1 hour and 9 minutes a day. So this must be, so all meals, right? So if you have a 30-minute lunch or an hour-long lunch, you're not necessarily eating for the whole hour, right? Because there's no way we're shoveling food in our faces for a whole hour. I can be done eating in 8 minutes at any meal. In their 30s, men average an hour and 13 minutes of mealtime. Women, an hour, 9 minutes. Starting to see a divergence of time. In our 40s, men average 1 hour and 11 minutes of time dedicated to eating. Women, 1 hour and 10 minutes, a 1 minute differential. In our 50s, men average 1 hour and 13 minutes of mealtime. Women, 1 hour and 9 minutes. In our 60s, men average 1 hour and 19 minutes of daily mealtime. Women, 1 hour, 14 minutes, a 5 minute differential. And in our 70s, men, that's more mealtime than in any other age group. Men average 1 hour and 28 minutes, almost an hour and a half every single day dedicated to eating and mealtime. Women average 1 hour and 21 minutes in their 70s when it comes to eating. The next category is housework. I'm going to take a break, come back, and tell you the differences in 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70-year-old men and women, and how the time differential in which gender dedicates more of their waking hours to housework than the other. This might shock you. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The Brew Crew are back on March 26th.
Uh-oh. Curio sends it deep to left, and there she goes.
Catch the Brewers on local TV as they open up the season against the Chicago White Sox.
And Yelich launches one deep right center field. Forget about it. Oh, my goodness. Third deck.
Brewers opening day is presented by Construction Business Group. Tune in March 26th at 1:10 on Fox 6 in Milwaukee, or check your local listings to watch the game.
The legendary Broadway show is back. The Wiz. The Chicago Sun-Times raves. It's an eye-popping, high-intensity revival. The music, the voices, the legend returns. Entertainment Weekly says, run, don't ease on down to this spectacular revival. The Wiz. Playing the Marcus Center, March 24th through 29th. Tickets at marcuscenter.org.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. It's not just a slogan, but the way of life at Gruber Law Offices. If you've been injured, call our team today. We've represented tens of thousands of injured Wisconsinites for more than 30 years. Trust Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. And you think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I'm going through data from the most recent, like as of yesterday, recent American Time Use Survey, and it breaks down by gender and by decade of age, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, how men and women divide up their day doing 12 different activities. And right now we are looking at the category of housework. There's a couple of differences I want you guys to pay particular attention to, but before I get into the details of how men and women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s spend their time doing housework, let me read a couple of these old comments on the YouTube. Reggie says, getting fired for jackassery at a company function has got to be a chart topper on the funny as a Mickey Flicky factor scale. Oh, it happens all the time. Some people, we don't. Do we ever do happy hours? We used to do them here. Every now and again, they would send out an email here at Good Karma Brands. Hey, join us for happy hour. I haven't seen one in a while, or I'm just not getting invited, which is fine. So here's my situation is different though, because a lot of my colleagues work until 4, 5, 6 o'clock. I'm done at noon. I'm not coming back. My whole day has taken a whole nother direction by 5 p.m. I am done here at noon. So anything related to socializing after work has got to take place at lunchtime for me. Because for me to go and do 5 hours worth of other stuff and then like, oh, let me go meet up with my colleagues for a work function. No, work to me is done. And anything related to work is going to have to be the next day or at lunch. Oh, let me give you the results of the poll. 85 people have voted so far. And the question is, who is easier to work for, men or women? 66% of the people say men. are easier to work for. 34% say women. I personally am one of those who voted for women. Women are easier to work for because they are more relatable on a variety of topics outside of work. Because it's not just the job that you do, it's your overall emotional state. And a lot of times with women, and I don't want to stereotype them because women can be in a whole bunch of different varieties, especially professionally. But whatever her mood is going to be the mood of the office. And because a lot of us have mothers, and you sometimes have to determine what's mama's mood today. How do I need to tread? Happy wife, happy life is the same thing. Gentlemen, when you wake up, you got to determine where your wife's mental state is at because that can have a profound effect on your day, right? Same thing in an office or professional and or corporate setting if you have a woman boss. But there's also things that I have found I can talk to women about, whether they be professionally or personally, that I don't ever want to discuss with a man because men sometimes are not equipped that way. And also, I just feel more comfortable sharing information and details about information with women than I do with men. Far too many men, I have learned. Now, everybody takes their job seriously, but too many men get their identity from their job. Because as a man, you got to have, like, your status is what you do. First thing we lead with when somebody asks us, oh, hey, who are you? This is what I do for a living. Or somebody asks us what we do for a living. We're proud of that. We gain status and attention by what we do for a living. With women, it's not always like that. Now, yes, there are some women that gain their status through what they do for a living, but some women gain their status through being a mother or a sister or a friend or a member of a sorority. You know what I mean? They have other things that define who they are and not necessarily the title. And I'm not impressed by people's titles anyway because I know that a lot of times they're a bunch of made-up words in the first place. I think if you worked really super hard to achieve your title, I love that for you, but that don't impress me. And it's not supposed to. You know, they say when you meet somebody for the first time, you're supposed to avoid asking them what they do. You're supposed to talk about literally everything else because in the grand scheme of things, who cares what you do? Unless you're a cop, then, maybe we should discuss what you do for a living. But if I go to a networking function or some other professional event, I don't really care what you do. I don't ever tell people what I do because it's embarrassing. Let me tell you why. Because if you don't know who I am, if you don't listen to talk radio or podcasts or whatever, then when I say, oh, I host a radio show, and they'll say some stuff like, oh, I didn't know that. I never heard of you. Now I don't want to have to explain who I am. So here's what I tell people. I tell people I'm a janitor. I'm not lying to you. And I will judge you based on how you react to that. If you turn your nose up and think that you're better than me because I tell you I'm a janitor, screw you and your whole family. And there are some people, oh, wow, I'm sure that's great work. Do you love what you do? Some people are like, oh, wow, good for you. Other people are like, oh, you're at this fancy function and you're, a janitor? Okay, and then they find out who the hell I am. And then but Sherwin, why did you lie to me and say you were a janitor? Because I wanted your initial reaction on how you would treat somebody who's a working class person. Ain't none of us more important than a janitor. I assure you of that. I don't care what you do. Jasmine says, Sherwin, your explanation of women managers versus men managers is 100% accurate. Literally, I thought it was just me because I am a woman and I thought I was biased, but hearing this from you helps. Thank you, Jasmine. Yeah, women are better to work for. LaRon says, perhaps we could make the next poll more specific to us. Who is easier to work for, a black man or a black woman, while getting the same amount of work accomplished? Let's see. We'll have to figure that out on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
I slept in a lot of different rooms, different beds, but none of them really felt like mine. I spent 14 years in foster care, mostly in group homes. And I never had much left because I always had to be ready to move. Why get things if you just have to let them go?
There are more than 100,000 children in foster care waiting to be adopted. The Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption is working to help find them a forever family and a permanent home of their own.
Now I have my own room with walls that tell my story. I love hanging out in here. I play dress up with my sisters and I sing and make videos. But the best part, knowing I'll always have a place to go and a family that loves and supports me.
If you have room in your home or your heart, see how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Williams, and I want to share with you the role that diabetes has had in my family. I lost my grandmother at the early age of 64 due to complications with diabetes. She was warm, generous, and a constant encouragement for me to follow my heart. Did you know that African Americans experience chronic kidney disease at a rate that's 25% higher than white Americans? And we're almost 4 times more likely to develop kidney failure. Diabetes and high blood pressure are leading causes of kidney disease, which can result in kidney failure, needing dialysis, or a kidney transplant. The good news is that you have the power to check out how well your kidneys are doing and learn ways to prevent them from failing. So go to your doctor and get yourself checked out. Visit linkmylovetv.org to learn more. Get the facts, get checked, and get healthy.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We're discussing the American Time Use Survey and also talking about our YouTube poll. If you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device. Search The Truth with Sherwin Hughes and hit subscribe. You'll be able to chat amongst our YouTube viewers, whatever, audience maybe, whatever they are. View the live stream of the program and also vote in our YouTube poll, which is revealing some interesting results. Who is it easier to work for, men or women? If I check the text messages at 833-212-1017, Dion said it's hard to work for black women. Well, why is that, Dion? You got a problem with black women? I have worked for black women. I worked for black men on a couple of occasions. My first real job out of college as a community organizer, I worked for a guy named Jesse Greenlee, learned a lot from Jesse. Worked for, may he rest in peace, Mr. Gerald Jones, the proprietor of Courier Communications and WNOV. Learned a tremendous amount about this business from him, not just radio, not just communication, not just print media. I learned about white people in the media. White people in the media are not going to teach you about white people in the media. Black people in the media are going to teach you about white people in the media, and it is a skill set that you need because you don't want to learn about them while you're doing the job. You have to know about them before you take it. Just please remember that. Culturally, we are different. How we execute things, different. How our African American community absorbs media and our expectations of it different. One is not right, one is not wrong, but they are fundamentally different. So when I come to work every day, I am mindful of those differences. Now, I don't want to stereotype because I do have a relatively diverse listening audience. If I look at conservative talk radio, which is white talk radio, there's not a lot of black people. There's some, but not a lot. The majority of their audiences are Caucasian. White people that listen to conservative talk radio want to reaffirm what they already know. They want to know and they want to hear the echo chamber. Yep, these Mexicans are bad. Yep, black people are violent. Yep, black people are lazy and they're on welfare. Yep, black women are welfare queens. Black children are dumb and can't learn. Like, they want that reinforced over and over and over again. You don't challenge them. You don't tell them to think differently. You don't tell them to critically think. They want to hear that Trump is good, that Trump loves America, and Trump is doing a good job. You can't ever tell them that Trump is failing, Trump is a pedophile, Trump got us into a war that we can't afford and that we can't win. You can't say that. They'll turn you off. So you have to tell them, even if you're lying to them. That's why they're so easily manipulated. And me being in the media and taking this job seriously, I can have no parts of that. I would have no parts in lying to someone just to tell them what they want to hear. That is a waste of airtime. Black people, on the other hand, we want to know the things that we don't know. We want to be informed. We want to be engaged. We want to hear about stuff they never taught us in school. We want to hear about things that can give us an opportunity, things that can give us an advantage. We want to hear about what the hell is going on, what we should do, where we should go, what candidates we should pay attention to, the differences between the political parties. It is dramatically different because we are kept away from productive information. And they do that on purpose, and that's a part of why we see the disparities that exist between our community and theirs. They gatekeep information. So black folks, when they listen to talk radio, they want to hear all of the stuff that has been kept from us. That's what I try to do with varying degrees of results every single day. But just know that these are fundamental differences. Those white folks, they want to just reaffirm their racism because they don't want to be made to think that how they feel is out of the mainstream. They want to hear their racism in the mainstream. They want it validated. They don't want to be alone and thinking how much they hate blacks and Mexicans and Asians and those people are moving into our neighborhoods. They want to hear that repeated, even if you got to lie to them. And it's almost like the perfect setup for somebody like Trump because Trump can echo that same sentiment. In fact, Trump can say, hey, you know what? I hate the same people you do, even though Trump hates them too. I have some details on the war. I want to start doing more frequent updates on the war because I don't want any of you to think that everything is normal. Everything is not normal. There was a document that was leaked from the Pentagon. So one of Donald Trump's top dudes resigned. His name is Joseph Kent. Dude was a Proud Boy, okay? And Donald Trump put him as head of he was like a national counterintelligence dude. Like he was a election denier. He was connected to the Proud Boys. He ran for Congress on a MAGA platform. Like he was Trump's guy. He resigned because he said he can no longer, in good faith and good conscience, be a part of this administration because of this war. We also have some details of exactly what it will take for this country to meet its objectives in winning the war in Iraq. And they said it would take at minimum 200,000 troops. There's 7,000 on the way right now. We would need 30 times that many for the United States to realize its goals, which would be practically, logistically, and financially impossible. So why don't we do this? We got Al on line one. Let me give you the housework numbers from the survey that I have on American time use. And maybe it shocks some of you. Maybe it doesn't. I don't want to be stereotypical when I talk about housework. But I think there's a difference as to why women spend more time doing housework per the American time use survey, which looks at details from 26,000 Americans across 12 different categories. Women in their 20s spend 1 hour and 43 minutes a day on housework. Men in their 20s, 1 hour and 2 minutes. Women in their 30s spend 2 hours and 17 minutes a day on housework. Men, 1 hour and 25 minutes. Women in their 40s spend 2 hours and 21 minutes on housework. Men in their 40s, 1 hour and 29 minutes. So as time goes on, men do spend more time doing housework as they get older, because men in their 20s are only spending about an hour a day. Men in their 30s are spending about an hour and a half. Men in their 40s, same, about an hour and a half. With women, it goes from an hour and 43 minutes in their 20s to 2 hours and 17 minutes in their 30s, probably because they have kids. And then in the 40s, women are spending even more time doing housework, 2 hours and 21 minutes. In our 50s, men are spending the most time doing housework, an hour and 41 minutes on average per day. Women, 2.5 hours per day. In their 60s, you would think that the housework would start leveling off in the 60s. It does not. Men are spending more time doing housework in their 60s, on average 2 hours and 5 minutes a day. With women, it's just under 3 hours a day, 2 hours and 49 minutes. And in their 70s, I'm not going to be doing all this housework in my 70s. You know what I want in my 70s, which I'm not all that far off from? 19 years, but whatever. I want to lay around in a beautiful condo with an incredible view, floor-to-ceiling windows. I want to have a scantily clad, very curvy and thick woman feeding me cotton candy grapes all day. That's when I'm in my 70s, that's all. I already did all the work. What else do I don't need housework? It says in the 70s, men are doing 2 hours and 15 minutes worth of housework. Women are doing 2 hours and 53 minutes worth of housework. Men and women in their 70s are doing more housework per hour than they were in previous decades of life. This has to do something with divorce, because if you are divorced, I could see in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, you were doing less time on housework because it might be a little bit more evenly split. But as people age and they're divorced and maybe they're living single or living by themselves or living without a partner, you're going to have to do more hours of housework. But women in their 70s doing 2 hours and 53 minutes worth of housework. But that also could be because her husband is dead, too. Let's talk to someone who's an expert on all things men and women and relationships. Hello, Al. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. But, most men in their 60s and 70s, I know they keep their house spotless. They keep it spotless. They go through it with a fine-tooth and comb, but maybe that's a different generation. I know you brought up with this war stuff. I'm surprised they wouldn't send the Proud Boys, because after Trump come out, they're going to have to do something to pay for them F-250s and 350s with them balloon, them balloon truck payments, $1,500, $2,000 a month. But you brought up something earlier about, how men is violent. Now, most insecure men, they usually have bad relationships, and they are the biggest tricks because they choose not to take the free will to fix their insecurity. But here's the thing with some of our brothers. Our brothers need to put this toxic masculinity aside. Just because you choose to talk it out, that does not make you weak and no getting over. And the other thing is, because I heard this on another show, y'all got to stop letting these women get y'all sold up. Because some of these women be like, yeah, I want a man to fight. Yeah, she's making payment arrangements, and she can't drop $25,000, $50,000, $100,000. And if her house is in foreclosure, she ain't going to be able to come up with $100,000 to get you out. So stop falling victim. But I think the problem is when these men be getting in all this trouble, and some of these women be pushing them to be the so-called man, they ain't really used to that vessel letting them release. So now they got to play this part. And then when you go to prison, she going to say, I'm by your side. And then while you're in prison and you ain't coming home no time soon, she's messing with your brother. She's licking on your daddy. And now you up in prison trying to figure out how to keep penis out your mouth and your ass. So stop letting this toxic masculinity and these women get y'all sold out. Some of y'all getting set up. to go to prison. Because he says he's putting this thing in your head. I want you to be the man. I want you to be the man. Yeah, check him, King. Yeah, check him, King. And she don't even got the money to get you out.
Good point.
So lose all this toxic stuff. If he want to act a fool and make a spectacle, let him make a spectacle. You got business to handle and money to get. If he want to bag a gun and do all this and bite him lip, let him look like a jackass and a farting mule. You need to go home and get your bag and create your empire. And for them women who be sitting there talking about, I need a man who gonna fight, ask them what's their credit score. How much they got in assets they can put up. Ask them that. And that's who ain't good enough to get you out if they on payment arrangements and they behind in house payments. So I just need my brothers to understand, because y'all are brothers from other mothers, and I'd rather see y'all get this money and create your empire together versus you got to sit here and only call one time a day and take your medicine. She talking about, oh, yeah, you a good man, and your brother just got done flooding all her vessel, all her ass, all her mouth, and daddy told the son, you done because I'm coming over tonight. Stop being foolishness and learn how to squash that stuff, and then everybody can be okay. And then the other thing is, insecure men, they're the biggest tricks, especially men that's in power. Some of the ones you can really urinate in their face and use their face as a toilet seat. But I just need to drop that, past that, because I get so sick and tired of seeing people, end up going to jail fighting each other, or these women pushing them to act a goddamn fool, and the only thing they want to do is give you some head and some good vessel, and then you going out to the next day and now you on papers. But she gonna say she got your love, but then when she get tired of you, she kick you to the curb because she think that vessel fit to do something else, and she's still on payment arrangements.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right, then. Bye-bye. All right, that was more than I bargained for. Why? Maybe because I'm old. I don't want to be involved with a woman that's encouraging me to fight for her. If we're out and someone is bothering her, I'll defend her, but I don't want to fight anybody for a woman. I don't want to have to do that. Okay, why don't we do this? Let's take a break. Let's recombobulate, come back and give you some more details from the American Time Use Survey. Oh, the next category is spending money. Who spends more time spending money every day, men or women? The answer may shock you. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.
What would you do with $5,000?
Going to look at buying me a pickup truck. That will be some of my down payment.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 101.7thetruth.com.
I love you guys.
I got money now.
Calling all seafood lovers, the Lobster Salad Sub is officially back at Cousin Subs. Fresh lobster mixed with our creamy signature mayo, topped with tomato and onion, served over crisp lettuce, and finished with a sprinkle of Old Bay. All on our fresh-baked Italian bread. It's a crave-worthy classic you can enjoy in store, online, or on the app, but only through April 5th. So catch it while you can. Cousin Subs. We believe in better.
Sweet Talk Talks Medical Spa in Menominee Falls. Skip the sterile clinical office feel. Sweet Talk stays on the cutting edge of beauty and wellness innovations in a vibrant, playful space, promoting self-love and confidence. Sweet Talk specializes in a range of treatments, including injectables, medical-grade skincare, weight loss, hormone therapies, and more. Not sure where to start? Sweet Talks offers comprehensive wellness consultations to create a customized plan centered around you. Because at Sweet Talks, your goals are their goals. Learn more at sweettalks.com.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
LaRon said, glad I turned this volume down. Al said a lot. Reginald wants to know, housework or cleaning? Reggie, because they don't differentiate in the survey, I think both. Because housework and cleaning are... My music cut off kind of abruptly there. Let's ease it down. There we go. So much better. Housework, any labor around the house. It could be vacuuming, doing the dishes, or hanging a picture. Right? Fixing a cabinet. You know what I mean? I don't think they differentiate between... Because some of each has to be done every single day. Like, you're not always fixing something every day, but you are doing laundry or doing dishes or cleaning up. So I think those categories happen to be combined in the American Time Use Survey. Average time spent daily spending money. Oh, ladies, you should be ashamed of yourself. All right, in their 20s, men spend 37 minutes a day spending money. Women, 50 minutes. In our 30s, men spend 45 minutes a day spending money. Women, 55 minutes a day. In our 40s, men spend 51 minutes a day. It's steadily going up. That makes sense, because as you get older, your income should be rising too. The more time you can spend spending money. Men in their 40s spend 51 minutes a day on average spending money. Women, an hour and 5 minutes. In our 50s, men only increase 1 minute more in spending 52 minutes a day spending money. In our 50s, women, 1 hour and 4 minutes. So women actually decrease their spending by 1 minute in their 50s. What about in our 60s? Men spend 1 hour and 2 minutes a day spending money. Women, it ticked back up to 1 hour and 10 minutes. And in our 70s, men spend 1 hour and 2 minutes a day spending money. Women, 1 hour and 8 minutes. Men we spend dramatically less time in our 20s spending money, which makes sense because we don't have a lot of money in our 20s. I know I didn't when I was in college and got my first job. The women start to separate in the amount of time they spend daily spending money in their 30s and their 40s. And it also could be as we get older and we get more advanced in our careers and get more promotions, we have simply more time to spend money. Let's talk to someone who probably is an expert on all of the things related to money. Hello, Andre. You're on 1017 The Truth.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind?
Well, I think with them stats, when they say in the 60s, an hour, a man, an hour and 1 minute? and a lady 1 hour and 10 minutes, he's really just 10 minutes of spending money, and them 2 hours is spending money to pay off the debts that she's incurred.
Oh, you think so?
That's, well, in my situation, it is. But the reason I called, I'm following up. I heard Al. Man, I was going to go commit a crime, but then I thought about it. Man, if I go to jail and the thought of my daddy and my brother putting wee-wee on my girl, man, I'm not going to go commit that crime.
Well, we hope that none of that happens.
Never heard nothing like that. Your daddy and your brother.
I think he did that for shock value, but very few women stay faithful when they have a partner in prison. Very few. Not only do they not stay faithful, even when men go off to war and get deployed, those women cheat too. The military wives are the worst.
I'm an older man now. Been there, done that. The preacher's daughter, the police daughter, them was the best. And the girls who left their town, them small towns, and came to a different city, they found college tonight at the Interns East. You probably never got to go there. On Tuesdays, I made sure I was down there.
That was before my time, buddy, but I had my spots too now, but that was before my time. I said Interns East?
College tonight. College tonight. Ooh, that was the best one. Okay. The little small town, that good girl, they'll come up, they'll be away from home. They're a good girl, all right.
Andre, did you say the police chief's daughter?
No. Policeman's daughter.
Okay.
They were some of the worst, baddest, to tell you the truth, when they got away from their parents.
Oh, yeah. Women that have strict fathers, like real strict upbringings, yes. Oh, they're so bad.
But they so good at the same time. Let me ask you, this is for you, Al. I know you listen. Why do everything got to be sexual? Do I have a girlfriend or wife that you know of?
Probably both.
Never hear him talk about that.
Yeah, probably both.
Alan, one of the guys want to know, why does everything got to be sexual? Dude got me here just cracking up. All right, take care. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, Andre. Have a good day. Yeah, Al does bring physical intimacy into his conversation quite often, but maybe that's just his perspective and his experience with life. There's just a lot of sexual things that he likes to comment on. What's our next category? Oh, caregiving. Women in their 20s spend 37 minutes a day caregiving. Men, 16 minutes. Men in their 30s spend 46 minutes. That's a big jump. From the 20s to the 30s, men spend on average 30 more minutes per day caregiving. Men in their 30s spend 46 minutes per day on average caregiving. Women, this is a huge jump too, 1 hour and 40 minutes a day. This could be related to child rearing. But then women in their 40s spend an hour and 6 minutes, which is 34 minutes less caregiving than when they were in their 30s. Men spend 41 minutes per day in their 40s on caregiving. Oh, in the 50s, y'all just stopped caregiving almost altogether. On average, men spend 15 minutes a day on caregiving in their 50s. Women spend 17 minutes a day on caregiving. That's because the house might be empty, the nest may be empty, there's no more kids. 60s, it gets even lower. Men spend 8 minutes a day on caregiving in their 60s. Women spend 9 minutes a day. And in their 70s, men spend 6 minutes a day caregiving. Is this minutes or hours? Minutes. No. Yeah, it's minutes. In their 70s, men spend 6 minutes a day caregiving. Women spend 8 minutes. Probably because they are receiving more care than they are giving. Oh, what about working? Men in their 20s work on average 5 hours and 53 minutes a day. Women work 4 hours and 40 minutes. Men in their 30s work 7 hours and 4 minutes per day on average. Women 5 hours and 17 minutes a day. Men in their 40s spend 7 hours and 19 minutes a day working. Women spend 5 hours and 32 minutes. Are you noticing a pattern? Men work more hours. Men in their 50s begins to taper off a bit, work 6 hours and 56 minutes per day. Women, 5 hours and 21 minutes in their 50s. Men in their 60s work on average 3 hours and 52 minutes. Makes sense, getting closer to retirement. Women work even less at 2 hours and 31 minutes per day in their 60s. And in their 70s, men work 58 minutes a day. Women, 27 minutes per day. All this is according to the American Time Use Survey. How about watching television? Men in their 20s spend 2 hours and 12 minutes watching TV. Women in their 20s, 1 hour and 46 minutes a day watching TV. Men in their 30s, 2 hours and 1 minute a day watching television. Women, 1 hour, 39 minutes. In our 40s, men, 2 hours and 20 minutes watching television. Women in their 40s, 1 hour and 53 minutes. In our 50s, men spend 3 hours flat watching TV. Women, 2 hours and 21 minutes. In our 60s, some pretty big jumps. Men spend 4 hours and 1 minute a day on average watching TV in their 60s. Women in their 60s, 3 hours and 20 minutes. And in our 70s, men averaging 5 hours and 1 minute a day of television watching. Women average 4 hours and 5 minutes a day of TV watching in their 70s. And we want to help you buy a brand new television because now is about that time, ladies and gentlemen, for our Gruber 5K giveaway.
One call, that's all.
Now is your chance to be our one call, that's all Gruber 5K giveaway entry for the day. We're going to enter you to win $5,000 courtesy of Gruber Law Offices. We'll take call number 6 at 833-212-1017. Call number 6 at 833-212-1017. Right now, we'll be entered to win $5,000 courtesy of the award-winning 1017 The Truth and Gruber Law Offices. Again, call number 6 right now at 833-212-1017 gets entered to win $5,000. Remember, if you or a loved one has been injured in an accident, contact Gruber Law Offices today. You can visit them online at gruber-law.com. For official contest rules, go to 1017thetruth.com. We're taking call number 6 at 833-212-1017. You'll be entered to win $5,000. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Milwaukee, this is the night you don't want to miss. The Analysis Live is back, March 27th at the Riverside Theater in downtown Milwaukee. You never know who's going to step on stage. The Analysis has shocked the crowd in past years with surprise appearances by Giannis and Stephen A. Smith. This year, Ric Flair headlines The Analysis Live. The WWE legend, the Hall of Famer, the Nature Boy. You know there will be plenty of surprises. Friday night, March 27th at the Riverside Theater. Lock in your tickets now. TALiveshow.com. That's TALiveshow.com.
Brunch plans? Happy hour plans? Either way, get loaded. At Loaded Spud, we turn the classic baked potato into a full-on flavor experience. Swing through for brunch favorites like shrimp and grits and chicken and waffles, then come back after work for happy hour in our loaded bowls, paired with cold drinks and a laid-back vibe. Enjoy happy hour from 4 until 10 p.m. with special prices on loaded potato favorites and drinks. Bring your friends and get your Spud on. Big portions, big flavor, no ordinary bar food. There's always a good time to get loaded. Stop in today at 789 North Water Street or visit online at letsgetloaded.online.
Metastatic breast cancer, or stage 4 breast cancer, happens when cancer spreads beyond the breast to other parts of the body. About 168,000 women are living with it today, with Black women at a higher risk due to various factors. Research has led to treatments that help manage the disease and improve quality of life. The Everyday Counts study explores how nutrition and exercise coaching can support women with metastatic breast cancer. To learn more about the Everyday Counts study in Milwaukee, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu. If you or someone you know has stage 4 breast cancer, please encourage them to call and enroll in this valuable study. Again, call 414-955-8819 or email edc@mcw.edu.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I told you we should ride with the windows open. How you gon' roll if you scared of Doja? Kept you on the side, tried to keep it kosher. Play on, play on.
How do men and women differ throughout the decades of life on how we spend our time? Going through the details of the American Time Use Survey, and it's illuminating, to say the least, on how we spend time moving through the decades on different activities. Last one we did was working, and as time goes on, as you would imagine, people of both genders tend to work dramatically less as they age, with the peak for men being in their 40s, where they're averaging 7 hours and 19 minutes per day working. Women peak also in their 40s, averaging 5 hours and 32 minutes a day working. And then by the time both genders reach their 70s, men are only working on average 58 minutes. Women, just under a half hour a day on average spent working. Here's another category, socializing. I would think that people in their 20s and 30s would spend hours and hours a day socializing because that is the time in the decade for it. Not really. And I'm not entirely sure how they define socializing. I wouldn't define socializing by talking to people online. That's not socializing to me. And I'm assuming it's probably not the definition in the survey either. I'd imagine it's some kind of real, like telephone contact, talking on the phone, or being out with people in real life. And I know that becomes rare nowadays. Some people have totally changed their habits of what they do outside of the house. They still haven't really recovered from COVID. They just don't go out nearly as much. And we know that people are using online dating services and dating apps to find their forever people. A little hint, doesn't work. It doesn't. Those dating apps, I wish people knew this. They're designed to get you addicted to the app, to get you to always go back, to always sign up, to always renew, to always keep scrolling, to always continue to check your messages, not find one person and get off the app. Because if the apps were successful, they would not be in business, because people would get on the apps, they would meet somebody, and then they would never sign up for the app ever again. But for some reason, these apps stay in business for a very, very long time. Any online dating after the year like 2010 has been pointless. Say it again. You said it works for someone and what now?
Anecdotally, for someone that shoots weddings like me, I have shot in over 100 weddings, and I would say a good percentage of them, they have met online.
Let's follow up with them and see if they're still married in 5 years.
That would be a good follow-up.
That's correct. Now, I'm not saying that. So of the weddings, again, you're using a heuristic. You're using, your specific.
Anecdotal, definitely.
Right, your examples and applying it to the whole. But there are people that have been on these dating apps for years. And they just can't. The problem, though, is a very, very, very small number of men, and this has all been documented, get 80 to 90%. It's like 10% of the men get 80 to 90% of the attention from the women. So 90% of men on dating apps, their messages are not getting read. They're not getting responded to. They're not getting a date. There's a guy named Michael Galloway. He said, because he does a lot of research on the topic of dating and relationships and all the things. A man needs, it's something like 1,000 swipes to get a coffee date. And then women are only showing up like 40 or 50% of the coffee dates. So that's a tremendous amount of work just to get a damn coffee date. So men that are tall, really handsome, very well built, extremely attractive, because average men aren't, because they're average, right? And if you tell an average looking woman that she should settle for or only pursue average-looking men, she's going to look at you like you are absolutely insane, because we have this thing that we do nowadays where we convince women who they're average. They're average in looks, they're average in intelligence, they're average in how much money they make and the car they drive and the house, the apartment they live in, but they think they're all supposed to get a corporate CEO and a ball player. And they won't settle for anything less because they have just been their egos have been so overinflated by these men online that are sending them constant messages and inboxing them, telling them how beautiful they are. And I think that can have an impact on them. And I feel so bad for those guys that are getting zero attention, but they're staying committed to these dating apps and they're just not meeting anybody. But because there's this thing called hypergamy. Women don't want low-level men. They want the best man possible. And those men actually exist. The problem is there's not a lot of them. And if you are one of those men that has 90% or 80%, not just in dating app women, but just women in real life, women in general, actors, just athletes, wealthy dudes that have all the things going for them, why would you get married, sir? For what? For why? What if you don't want to have kids? What's the point of getting married? Why would you have unlimited choices of women, and you will for the foreseeable future. And getting older is not necessarily a deterrent. As a man gets older, his wealth might be even more crystallized. He might even get more handsome and become even more mature and even more distinguished. Sir, why would you get married? This is a rhetorical question. Do not answer it because you'll get in trouble. But for what? Why would you get married? You can go out and have fun every single night. Because most of the things that we expect a woman to do, if you have a traditional view of marriage, and if you're getting married, you probably have a traditional view. Most of those things you expect a woman to do, she doesn't have to do them. And then when we get to the end of our rope, because women sometimes question, especially if they want to be married and be in a committed relationship, but sometimes women, they hit this wall that they control the sex. We control the commitments and the relationships. Very rarely do women propose to men. Women are supposed to put themselves in situations and positions where they get proposed to. But they think that if they offer themselves and, if they're really pretty all the time and offer themselves up physically, some man will marry me. No, he won't. Not necessarily. For what? Because he can have a whole bunch of expectations of this woman. She doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't have to cook. She doesn't have to clean. She doesn't have to take care of you. Because that's the one thing that a lot of us men hear. Oh, you're going to want somebody to take care of you when you're older. There's no guarantee my wife is going to take care of me. That's insane to even think that. Because what if she just doesn't like me? The only people that I'm expecting to take care of me would be doctors, nurses, and people that I hire as caregivers. But if you think as a man that you can have a set of expectations on a woman, you're insane. It's only what she wants to do. And you can't make her do anything because you would be controlling. Right? So let's not pretend that we're operating under some illusion. Can't make a woman do anything. In fact, and I don't think that cooking is a gender role. Cooking is a life skill, and everybody knows it. We all born with a mouth. I've seen a lot of birth defects in my life. I've never seen a human being born without a mouth. Everybody got a mouth. Everybody knows how to talk. Everybody knows how to eat. If you know how to eat and you were born with a mouth, you should know how to cook. And because we know it's a life skill, sometimes if a person doesn't have that life skill, they're very embarrassed about it. I think men are less embarrassed if they can't cook but women oftentimes are. And because I know this because I'm a man that knows how to cook. My mama made sure. My brother even cooks a little bit. Not as good as me, but he's all right. My mother wanted to make sure, but our dad cooked for us as well. But our parents wanted to make sure that we knew how to cook. Because why rely on a woman? But also, there might be periods of time where we don't have a woman. So what, we're supposed to just go out to eat all the time or go eat fast food? No, you got to be able to know how to prepare just some real basic stuff around the kitchen. All you really need is about 4 or 5 different recipes. That's all you really need. But if you're a man that can cook, that can clean, if you're a domestic man, like if you know how to take care of your own house, there are some women that are intimidated by that because then they feel that they have nothing to offer. It's the weirdest phenomenon ever because there are some men that are absolutely helpless. Their mamas ruined them. Their mamas cooked for them. Their mamas cleaned for them. Their mamas did their laundry for them, did all this stuff, and then go out into the world essentially useless. And there are some women, though, and they fit together like keys and locks. The women who get their self-worth by what they can provide domestically to a man. And for men that can't do anything around the house, well, that's perfect. Those women, though, are few and far between. They're very, very hard to find. But if you're a man that knows how to take care of yourself, your laundry, your cleaning, all your domestic duties are handy around the house, and you know how to cook, and you meet a woman who gets her self-worth and her value from those things that man already knows how to do, then she just becomes sex. Or companionship. But women that you're sleeping with don't make good friends. Women you're not sleeping with are the best friends. Thank you, Xavier. Agree with me on that. If you're sleeping with a woman, there is no way that relationship doesn't become cloudy. You can only be friends with them if you're no longer sleeping together. Because if you're still sleeping together, then relationship mode is just going to creep in to one of your minds. Like everything could be going along perfectly fine, and all of a sudden she says something like, "So what are we?" Well, the only answer to that is done. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I travel all around the world, Dr. Ken, and when I tell you, based on my experiences, this is like the #1 country that cares. Like everything is about money. Yep. Everything.
This is The Truth Unfiltered with Denise Thomas and Dr. Ken Harris.
I've told people in the past, you have to be careful of what you complain about and what you use as a tool because other people will take it and use it in the wrong way.
Sundays starting at 7 on 620 WTMJ and Mondays at 6 on 1017 The Truth.
As the White House threatens to take over state elections, restrict abortion nationwide, and take away our health care, the Wisconsin Supreme Court is the last line of defense for our rights. That's why the Supreme Court election on April 7th is so critical. The ACLU does not endorse or oppose candidates, but wants you to make an informed decision. When it comes to abortion rights, Maria Lazar supported overturning Roe v. Wade and is endorsed by groups that want to ban abortion. Chris Taylor voted against abortion bans and defended abortion rights while working with Planned Parenthood. And on the issue of voting rights in Wisconsin, Maria Lazar defended efforts to rig elections for one political party through extreme gerrymandering of congressional and legislative districts. Chris Taylor opposes rigging the system with extreme partisan gerrymandering. On April 7th, stand up for our rights. Paid for by American Civil Liberties Union, Incorporated.
The legendary Broadway show is back. The Wiz. The Chicago Sun-Times raves. It's an eye-popping, high-intensity revival. The music, the voices, the legend returns. Entertainment Weekly says, run, don't ease on down to this spectacular revival. The Wiz. Playing the Marcus Center, March 24th through 29th. Tickets at marcuscenter.org.
At Gruber Law Offices, we take great pride in helping those who have trusted us after a serious accident. Our team has the knowledge, resources, and experience to get you the results you deserve. Don't wait to get the help you need. Make the right call. Call Gruber Law Offices today. Proud partner of your Milwaukee Bucks. One call, that's all.
Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th at Franklin Field, featuring live performances by Shaggy, Rick Ross, Genuine, Soulja Boy, Frankie J, Mims, and more. There will be craft margaritas, Milwaukee's best taco vendors, authentic lucha libre wrestling, an exotic car showcase, a Chihuahua beauty pageant, art installations, and so much more. Tacos and Tequila Festival, Saturday, May 30th. Get your tickets at tacoandtequilafestival.com.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I guess on tomorrow's program, we're going to have to talk about the war updates. It's not looking good. None of it is looking good. That's why we titled today's show, It's Not Looking Good. It's not looking good for some of you single folks either. It's hard to find a good person out there, and it's difficult. Where do you go? Go to church, maybe. Go find you somebody in church. It was a quote, "A church is not a museum for saints. It's a hospital for sinners." That's brilliant right there. How do I say that name? Giada? I don't know how to say it. Maybe it is Giada. Yeah. Sounds like he wants to be alone. LOL. Ladies run. He wants a sex worker. I mean,
what's wrong with that?
I can't ask a woman to do anything for me. It's only based upon what she wants to do at any given period of time. And I totally respect that. But there's also a couple of sayings that haven't aged very well. Happy wife, happy life. Like, for my life to be happy, it's got to be contingent upon somebody else that I can never make happy. I can't make another human being happy. If they're not already ready-made happy, then there's nothing that I can do. I can make her life easy. I can make her life convenient. I can make it so that she spends less of her money and spends more of mine. But where does that leave me? Because I'm not going to get involved in something that leaves me emotionally drained. That relationship is going to have a shelf life, and I'd rather not enter it. There's also a phrase, and I respect women when they say this, I can do bad by myself. She don't want some bum. She doesn't want somebody who's not helping, who's not contributing, and I love that for women. She can do bad by herself, but men nowadays can do good alone. And nobody is right, nobody is wrong. She can do bad by herself. We can do good by ourselves. Especially if you don't have any children or if your children are grown. Now, don't get me wrong now. I likes to kick it. I likes to go to things. I likes to go to shows. I likes to go out to dinner. I likes to go to little basketball games and watch the Bucks lose every damn game I go to. I like to do all those things. But that don't require no lifelong commitment. I posted a TikTok video in the Hughes Views 414 Facebook group. That's the Facebook group that corresponds to this show. And it said the pinnacle of feminism is women being able to have as many lovers as they want and not have to answer to anybody. And I support that for them. And I want them to be much more open and honest about it because most men are under an illusion. I don't want to be under an illusion. I know that if I'm just hanging out with a lady, we're just, going, kicking and doing stuff, whatever, I know she's got somebody else. Problem is, I don't care because I may not fulfill the role for her that he will. And I will never tell a woman to stop seeing another man unless I'm going to give her everything that he was giving her plus everything else that she desired. And until I'm ready to make all of those sacrifices and commitments, I'm going to let her do her thing. But some of us modern men, though, we're a little bit different. I don't need to talk to somebody every single day. I don't need to, what are you doing? Where are you at? How is work going? Good morning. Shut up. I don't want to talk. First of all, I talk for 3 hours a day. When I'm done on air, I don't want to talk to nobody. Most days, I don't even answer my phone. If you can't text me, I don't want to hear what you got to say. I think that there are some women who may, and men too, you shy away from relationships because some people will use you as an emotional crutch. If they're unhappy, you got to make them feel better. If they're sad, you got to make them smile, right? They want to go see a movie, you got to go with them. They got a function to go to, you got to be their date. They want to go do this. Their parents are coming into town, you got to be there hanging out with them and their parents. That's a lot. Nobody got time for all that. But let me not take anything away from love. Love is a many splendid thing. It's also very hard to find when everything is so damn transactional. Miles says, okay, I have a question. This is a man's world. How the heck are men still complaining when the world they created is a multiverse of the consequences of their actions? Which men are complaining, Miles? Men that don't have anything and men that can't do anything, men that don't have a skill, men that are unemployed and homeless. Well, clearly they have a lot to complain about. What men are complaining? Everybody is going to complain, though. I know people that you would think have it all. All of it. The house, the car, the money, the options, the opportunities, all of it, still unhappy. Randy says, correct phrase, happy spouse, happy house. Does it mean anything to any of you that between 66 and 90% of all divorces are filed by women? Does that mean anything? And I refuse to believe that all of those men that got left are terrible. I refuse to believe that. There's no way. Here's what I would suggest. It's just a suggestion. You're probably better off not taking this advice. Men, before you get married, be a woman's side piece. You need that experience. You need, because otherwise you won't recognize it. No, be a woman's side piece so you can see how they operate when they are no longer happy or no longer fulfilled at home, when there's no longer any butterflies or any excitement, when the relationship just becomes a matter of routine. And some people are perfectly fine with routine, but there are other people, they want spark, they want excitement, they want butterflies all over again, they want the beginning of the relationship to last forever. Categorically false and unrealistic. And when a woman gets bored, and she may have everything, and he may have to work a lot. You know, we did the American Time Use survey earlier. Men have to work, in some cases, 2 more hours per day on average than women do. And then she may complain, but you're never home. She's got a car. She's got a house. She's got a bank account. She takes trips sometimes without him. And when he's gone working, well, now she's lonely. You're not around anymore.
Did this happen to you, Sherwin?
No. Hell, I've never been married.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hell no.
You've been a player your whole life, huh?
No, not a player. I just been focusing on me. You guys will see. You'll get your heart broken a couple times. You just be much more realistic because it's going to happen. Because they'll keep a straight face and lie. Because women can be deceptive.
I didn't lie to you.
Yeah, it's a part of it. And then you get to a point where, all right, if this is what we're doing, and then you just don't take it seriously, right? It's just entertainment. And once you see it as entertainment, you'll be all right. You know, just go out and have a good time, enjoy yourself. Don't ask too many questions. Don't ask questions that you don't want the answers to. Never go through her phone. I did that once. Oh, my God! I literally couldn't. It was like a horror movie, and I was the star when I went through her phone. It was. Do I have time to tell the story?
Yeah, you got about a minute.
All right. So this was 2010, 2011. I was involved with this woman. It was kind of rocky, but, you know, we'd been together for a year. It was cool. Well, I went through her phone, saw she was very much involved with and talking to another man. Every payday Friday, she would go to happy hour with her friends. I never thought anything of it until I went through her phone and saw that she was talking to this man. So I knew where she was going for payday happy hour, so I showed up a little bit early. I parked my car, and I kind of hid around the corner. And sure enough, he was there. I waited, and he had a drink on the table. He went inside to go to the bathroom. I let him go inside to go to the bathroom. She's sitting outside on the patio. Just no shame with it whatsoever, but here's her, I guess, her saving grace. She was with one of her coworkers. He goes in to go to the bathroom. I came around the corner. I sat down in his seat. I was like, oh, fancy seeing you guys here. Look at this. Can I order another round of drink? You should have seen the look on her face. Then he came back, I shook his hand, I introduced myself, and I walked off. A relationship was over. Thank you for listening. I'll see you next time.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in